A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
This I believe. Willard A. Pluthner is a vice president of Batten, Barton, Durston, and Osborne, the advertising agency. His unusual avocation utilizes many of his business skills, but instead of selling soap or toothpaste, Willard Pluthner, in his spare time, promotes church attendance. Here is his creed.
I sincerely believe that every human being is a soul, and therefore precious in the sight of God and valuable in our own sight, no matter what its merits, or regardless of its achievements or position in life. That belief gives my business life a deeper meaning and adds a Christian challenge to each workday. For I'm not dealing with individuals as just people. Outside, they wear the identification of clients, tradesmen, and co-workers. Yet inside, each one of them is just like I am, just another soul trying to grow nearer to his God and to be more helpful to his fellow man. My daily Christian challenge is first to remember that inside religious similarity of all of us, in each business contact. Then I try to act towards each individual as one soul to another, and not just as one businessman to another. I don't always succeed, yet each morning, each hour, or with each telephone call, I can take a fresh start towards that goal. Every day provides so many opportunities for adding Christianity to my working contacts. I can show true brotherhood to that new employee. How? By stopping at his desk and asking him how his new job is coming. Can I answer any questions he has? Or loan him books and magazines about the business? Yes, I can take him to lunch and make him feel more at home in our company. I can help extend a Christian welcome to our business visitors by putting a Bible in the reception room. What a useful place for one of our extra Bibles from home. Reading the reception room Bible gives our business callers the comfort and inspiration of God's Word while they're waiting to be seen. Yes, it also helps to keep a Bible in my office for reading, reference, and reminding. I need reminding during the day that my religion is a Monday through Saturday challenge, not just a fine, respectable Sunday habit. I believe that one of my greatest opportunities is with my business neighbors, those who work for me or with me. Here I can be quick to praise, slow to criticize, and constant in showing sincere appreciation for their assistance. As a Christian, I can be more understanding of the other person's point of view. I have so many chances of making their daily work more interesting, more satisfying, and more rewarding. Being blessed with an efficient and cooperative secretary, I can write to newspapers, magazines, and broadcasting stations, thanking them for their use of religious editorial material. I feel that it is my duty to let these great molders of public opinion know that I appreciate the space and time they devote to the faith of our fathers. I believe that my workday gives me unusual opportunities for helping to stimulate group support, like the old clothes drive for the World Council of Churches, CARE, or the Red Cross Blood Bank. And I can encourage those fellow workers who are doing the extra jobs of collecting or soliciting funds for charities. One great test of my religious faith comes after a difficult day's work. Things have not gone as planned. Nothing seems to have been accomplished, or the day was filled with trouble, grief, and disappointments. In between leaving the office and my front door, can I wipe that frustrating business day out of my mind? Or greeting my family, can I get a fresh start as a father and husband? Or because of the bad business day, do I take it out on my family by being cross, sensitive, and irritable? That's one of the toughest tests of trying to take my religion right through the entire business day. To some, these simple ways of living religion in my workday life will sound obvious, inconsequential, or even corny. Yet this I believe. Things like these have made my religion mean more to me, do more to me, and I hope do more for my business day neighbors.
That was Willard A. Pluthner, an advertising executive who, applying advertising techniques to an old problem, wrote Building Up Your Congregation and More Power for Your Church. The royalties from both books are donated to interfaith charities.
The Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation brings you Crime Photographer.
Hello, Mr. Marvin.
Hi, Ethelbert. Are we on the air?
Yeah, but Say, you don't have your script with you tonight.
Oh, I don't need a script for what I have to say. Everyone knows that the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation is the world's largest maker of household glass. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tony Marvin. Every week at this time, the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, and its more than 10,000 employees bring you another adventure of Casey, crime photographer, ace cameraman who covers the crime news of a great city. Written by Alonzo Dean Cole. Our adventure for tonight, The Gray Kitten. On the edge of our city is lovely Greenwood Lake. Just before midnight, an automobile pulls up to one of the big bungalows along the shore, and a tall, dark man gets out. Seeming to brace himself, he goes to the door and opens it with his key. Seated before the fireplace is a large and determined-looking middle-aged woman.
Hello, Carlos.
Why, Hester, this is a pleasant surprise.
Where's my sister?
Jessie left for Detroit this evening.
Detroit?
Didn't she let you know?
She certainly didn't. She phoned me this morning and said she wanted to discuss something with me. She said nothing about leaving town.
Oh, you know our Jessie. Late this afternoon, she says, Carlos, my darling, I must leave for Detroit tonight to attend to some business. So, like a good husband, I arrange her transportation and take her to the 8 o'clock train.
I knew Jessica was becoming irresponsible 6 months ago when she married you. But I didn't think she was so far gone. Why, I've been waiting here ever since 8:30. And she didn't tell you I'd be here?
Not a word.
Oh, the woman's gone crazy.
When she phoned you this morning, what did she say she wanted to see you about?
She didn't say, but I had an idea, Carlos, that you'd been treating her badly again.
Why, my dear Hester, why don't you mind your own business?
Because I don't trust you. My sister's 50 years old. Young men of your type marry middle-aged women for just one reason, money.
I cannot hope to change your opinion, I suppose.
No. So, I'll be starting back to town.
I'll help you with the coat.
Don't bother. Carlos, how did you get all that dirt on your hands?
Dirt?
And your shoes and trouser legs are covered with it.
Oh, my car got stuck in the mud on the shortcut road. I had to push it out.
Oh. Just when will Jessica come back from Detroit?
She wasn't sure. She let me know.
I see. I suppose she went to Detroit to turn some more of her property there into cash for you to spend.
I do not know. And furthermore, I'm not interested in Jessie's money. Good night, Hester.
Good night. Oh, I nearly forgot something.
Forgot?
That cat of Jessica's had a kitten tonight.
A cat?
Daisy. I heard her meowing when I came in and found her in Jessica's room with one kitten beside her. She's just been born.
It was born at what time?
About 8:30.
In Jessica's room?
I just told you it was. Since Jessica's away, I'm taking Daisy and her kitten home with me. You wouldn't give them proper care. I put mother and child in a box in here. You see? Look at her.
A gray kitten.
Oh, gray. Except for that white streak on his head. It's just like the streak of pure white that runs through Jessica's gray hair.
Take that kitten out of here. Take it away.
Oh.
As you said, Hester, I wouldn't know how to take care of it.
Take the cat's box to my car.
No, you carry the box.
You act as though you're afraid of this cat and her kitten.
Come, I help you in your car.
Oh, very well. Be sure you let me know when you hear from Jessica.
I will let you know, Hester. I will let you know.
Logan, you're absolutely nuts. The longest game ever played in a major league was between Brooklyn and Boston in 1920. It went 26 innings.
Yeah, wait till I get my hands in the record book. I'll show you.
Got a record.
Goodness sakes, do you two have to make all this noise?
This wise guy.
That's your phone.
Go on.
Whistling too.
Hello, Homicide Bureau, Captain Logan speaking.
This is Miss Hester Simmons.
Who?
Hester Simmons. I live at 347 Parkview Drive.
Oh, Yes, Miss Simmons. What can I do for you?
He gives a good address so he gets polite.
Shut up, Casey. Go ahead, Miss Simmons.
I have something very important to talk to you about.
What is it?
My sister has been missing for 3 weeks, Captain. I'm afraid she's been murdered.
Murder, Casey.
Oh, tell me about your sister, Miss Simmons.
It's too long a story to tell over the phone. Come to my house, please. Now.
All right, I'll be there in 15 minutes, Miss Simmons.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye. Hey, you and Miss Williams will have to excuse me, Casey.
Oh, no. That little word murder we just heard has made us curious.
Just a front page story, pal, with pictures.
Okay, come on. Your sister's husband told you that night, Miss Simmons, he'd just put her on the train for Detroit?
Yes, Captain. But now I have every reason to disbelieve him.
Excuse me, Miss Simmons. What is the name of your sister's husband?
Carlos Gervasos.
Gervasos, right?
Go on with your story, Miss Simmons.
Well, since the night he told me that Jessica had gone to Detroit, I've heard nothing from her. She always writes me when she's away, and I became worried. So last week, I engaged a private detective agency.
I see.
And they learned that although callers purchased accommodations for the Detroit train that night, Jessica wasn't on the train. Nor have they been able to find any trace of her in Detroit.
Miss Simmons, you say Gervaso's hands were dirty and his shoes and trouser legs were caked with mud that night, huh?
Yes, Mr. Casey, he might have gotten in that condition from digging her grave.
Oh, Miss Simmons, you mustn't let yourself imagine such terrible things.
I despised Carlos from the day I met him. Why did he marry my sister? All she had to offer him was money. I think finally she refused to give him any more, so he got rid of her.
We'll look into your sister's financial affairs, Miss Simmons. I suppose you know who handled her business.
Yes. The firm of Burdens and Lockridge.
Good.
Hey, Captain, look out! Oh, my gosh, you almost stepped on that little kitten.
Oh, where did that come from?
I don't know. I guess it just wandered out of the other room. Oh, look at it. Can't be more than a few weeks old.
Yeah. A little bundle of gray fur.
And look at the funny white streak on its head, Casey. See? There's another mark on it.
Sure cute.
It's always running away from its mother. That kitten was born the night my sister disappeared.
Yeah?
Yes, I brought it home with me.
Well, I guess we'll be getting along.
Captain, if your investigation of my sister's financial affairs supports my suspicions, will you put Gervasos under arrest?
Well, that won't be sufficient basis for a murder charge, Miss Simmons, but it'll cause me to ask Mr. Gervaso some very personal questions.
That must be the house, Captain.
Yeah. This time of year, this place is a nice setup for a murder. Plenty of privacy.
And many places in those deep woods to bury a body.
Now, don't you two decide there's been a murder until there's a lot more evidence than I have now. I'll park here.
Well, you've learned that since her marriage, Mrs. Gervasos converted a lot of her holdings into cash. And that there's no record of where that cash went to.
Even if her husband got it, Miss Williams, that doesn't prove he killed
I
her.
wonder who that green car in the driveway belongs to.
Yeah. Miss Simmons said the Gervasos had a black one.
Yeah, I can see that one in the garage.
Look, I must have visitors.
I mean, a visitor. Look at those footprints in the snow.
A woman's footprint.
Hey, maybe the missing Mrs. Gervasos has come home.
Ring that doorbell. Let's find out.
I'm doing that little thing.
Who's there?
This is a police officer.
Police?
Let us in, please.
What do you want?
I can tell you that more comfortably inside.
Just a minute.
He sounded a little nervous.
Everybody gets nervous when a cop comes unexpectedly to their door. He's opening up.
Come in.
Thanks. You, Carlos Gervasos?
Yes?
I'm Captain Logan, Homicide Squad.
Homicide?
Uh-huh. This is Miss Williams and Mr. Casey.
I have done no homicide.
This is a nice living room, Mr. Gervasos. Where's the lady who just left it?
Lady?
Yeah, we saw her car outside and her footprints. Now, here's a highball glass with lipstick on the rim.
I see.
Well, let's see her.
Here I am. I stepped into the kitchen because I thought you might want to talk to Carlos in private. Well, introduce me.
This is Miss Vera Lavelle, an old friend.
Of yours or your wife?
Of both. I drove out here to ask Mr. Gervasos if he'd heard anything from Jessie.
Yeah?
Yeah.
She's a bimbo, Logan.
In caps. Well, have you heard anything from your wife, Mr. Gavasso?
No. I think maybe my wife's sister has sent you to ask me about that.
You're right. And we arrived at such a nice time.
Distinctive shade of lipstick you use, Miss Laval. Matches the lip prints Mr. Gervasos is wearing on his chin.
So what?
This gives me the idea that your old friend was pretty sure his wife wouldn't drop in here unexpectedly.
This is ridiculous. I
Now, can it, Gervasos? When I came here, I was giving you all the benefit of a doubt. But now you're coming down to headquarters and tell me a lot of things.
Does this mean I'm under arrest?
Yes.
On what charge?
Suspicion of murder.
All of us are becoming increasingly price conscious. So I know you'll be interested in a product which costs not 1 penny more than it did immediately before the war and is actually far less expensive than anything even remotely comparable to it only 10 years ago. Now I'm talking about Fire King oven glass, the beautiful pale blue oven glass that is guaranteed for 2 years against oven breakage. Fire King oven glass makes delicious meals simpler and easier to prepare, and it cuts dishwashing time by a full 2/3 because you bake, serve, and store leftovers in the same dish. It makes meals more appetizing and more healthful because oven baking safeguards not only flavor, but vitamins and minerals as well. Yet, individual pieces of Fire King oven glass cost as little as 5 cents at your favorite chain, variety, hardware, or department store. Beautiful, practical, inexpensive Fire King oven glass is a product of Anchor Hocking. A great name in glass.
So they turned that guy Gervasos loose today, huh, Casey?
Yeah. He's out of jail, Ethelbert.
And did poor Captain Logan go out on a limb when he put him in there?
Same limb you went out on, Annie. Stories you wrote after his arrest had the guy all but convicted and in the hot seat. I don't know how you talked City Desk into running those things. Must have been your charm, I guess. And the DA doesn't even ask for an indictment.
Well, he should have gotten an indictment. He was able to prove that Gervasos had gotten over $40,000 from his wife's estate. He could prove that Gervasos and his wife quarreled because she refused to give him any more money. He could prove that...
He could prove everything, Annie, except the all-important fact of murder. And they've still found no trace of a body. And the DA knows a trial jury wouldn't convict him.
So this Gervasos may get away with murder. If he's committed it.
Yeah, kind of looks that way, Ethelbert, now. I don't think he's going to keep much of that 40 grand, though.
How do you mean?
Hold on. That Laval dame will get it. You know, I think she pushed Gervasos into the murder of Jessica, and I think she'll push him into a new deal soon because she's going to want more money.
Hey, look who's coming in the door now.
Huh? Who?
Casey, it's Gervasos.
Who's out with him?
There they are, Dan. Hello, Miss Williams. Evening, Casey. We expected to find you here.
You were looking for us?
Not for you, Casey. But we have a present for you, Miss Williams.
What is it?
Tell her, Dan. Make it official.
Summons, lady.
Oh.
Yes. I'm suing for $100,000 damages to my name and reputation.
Well, Mr. Gervasos, do you think that I have $100,000?
Miss Williams, your paper will be a joint defendant in my suit. The stories you wrote were so very unkind to me.
Look here, Gervasos. If you bring a libel suit against Miss Williams in the Morning Express, the paper and everyone on it will do everything possible to prove you really killed your wife.
No one in this world can prove I killed my wife, Mr. Casey.
What's the matter?
The cat. The Gray Kitten.
Gray Kitten?
I must get out of here. Come on, Dan.
Right with you, boss.
Casey, what is the
Don't
matter?
ask me.
Oh, sure peculiar.
Hey, wait a minute. Have a look at you, Kitty. Come here.
I guess some people are just naturally afraid of cats, Casey.
Hey, where did this kitten come from, Ethelbert?
I must have sneaked in from the street. It don't belong here.
It just sat on the floor and looked at Gervasos, and then when he saw it... Annie, this gray kitten has a single white mark on its forehead. Look. Like the one we saw at Miss Simmons a month ago.
Yes. Yes, it has.
I'm going to have a talk with Miss Simmons tomorrow. You know, I'm getting a screwy hunch that this cat is bad medicine for that guy Gervasos. Miss Simmons, you say Gervasos showed fear of this kitten the night it was born.
Yes, and I've been thinking of a certain possible reason for his actions that frightens me.
What's that?
Are you familiar with the theory of reincarnation?
Oh, you mean the belief that when a person dies, his soul is born again in a new body?
Perhaps in that of an animal. My sister Jessica believed in reincarnation. Carlos is very superstitious. And he'd heard Jessica say that when she died, she'd return to life as a cat.
Huh? She said that?
Many, many times.
And that kitten was born in your sister's room. About the time Gervasos may have killed her.
Yes. And this kitten has the white streak on its head that ran through Jessica's hair. I, as most people, regard the strange combination of things I've mentioned as coincidence. But I think they explain Carlos' fear and prove his guilt.
Miss Simmons, I kind of think so, too. We've got to have better proof than that for a jury. I want to borrow that kitten.
What for?
I'm going to use it to break that guy down. Play on his superstition till he cracks wide open. At least once a day, he's going to run into this cat.
He ran into it last night, and no one arranged that.
Yeah, that's funny, isn't it?
Very funny. Take the kitten, Mr. Casey, and be good to it. Be good to it, Mr. Casey.
Your idea about using that kitten to crack Gervasos is swell, Casey.
Huh? Well, I'm glad you see the possibilities, Logan.
Every time Gervasos goes out, one of your detectives will shoo the kitten right across his path, Captain.
Beautiful, Miss Williams. Simply beautiful.
Well. For once, we bring you an idea and you don't throw ice water on it.
You two masters of detection and criminal psychology haven't given me a chance to talk yet. Your idea is magnificent, stupendous, and colossal.
Yeah.
It might even work, except for one thing.
Yeah.
Gervasos has disappeared.
Disappeared?
He and that Laval dame took a powder last night, left with bag and baggage.
Well, didn't you have him walk?
I thought the DA's men were keeping an eye on him, and he thought my guys were doing the job.
Nice going.
Of course, you newspaper birds never make a
Don't
mistake.
you two start one of your riots now. My nerves won't take it, please. Captain, you'll locate Gervasos and the Laval woman eventually, of course.
We'll try to, Miss Williams, but we still don't have enough evidence of murder. I've got work to do now. The two of you take that kitten and get out of here.
Okay. Where is the kitten, Casey?
Huh? Well, it was on the floor here a minute ago. See? Here, Kitty. Here, Kitty. Cat, come here.
Not over here.
Kitty. Come
Anyway,
here.
the door's closed, so...
Here, Kitty. Here, Kitty.
Sound kind of silly,
It
Logan.
must have gone out that window.
Yeah, there it is.
It's down on the street.
It's running around that corner.
Oh, my gosh, it'll be killed or get lost, and we'll never find it.
You should have been watching it, Casey. Now, like Gervasos, the kitten is gone.
Casey, it's been... Look out, Grace! Oh, dear, these women. Did you see what she did?
Yeah.
Well, Casey, it's been a long time now since that Gervasos and his gal friend flew the coop, huh?
Over 3 months, Ethelbert, yeah.
And the cops haven't found a trace of him.
It's really a break for you and your newspaper, Miss Williams. With Gervasos gone, he can't sue you.
I think that was just a shakedown anyway.
I hope.
Yeah. If he'd stuck around, I think we'd have gotten a confession out of him, too.
By using that kitten as your plan?
Why, sure. He was scared to death of that little thing, Ethelbert. I think seeing it here that night was the reason he lammed out of town in such a hurry. Oh, wait a minute. Here's Logan.
Hello, everybody. I hoped I'd find you here, Casey.
Yeah, we'll draw up a stool, pal.
I haven't time now.
Huh?
Casey, we've located Gervasos in Vera Laval.
Yeah, where?
Yeah, in a town less than 100 miles from here. The guy's married again to another rich old dame.
Married again,
Yeah, under another name, of course. And he's dyed his hair, grown a mustache, and is wearing glasses. The local cops only got wise to him by accident. And the Laval gal is living in the same town. She's changed herself over, too. They're getting ready for another killing, Casey.
You mean that literally?
Yeah. A servant who works for Gervasos' new wife overheard a conversation between Gervasos and Laval. And the servant tipped off the wife, and she told the cops.
Yeah?
They instructed her to sit tight until I got there. I understand the guy is planning to take his new missus, who's really got plenty of dough, on a boat trip to South America. But she's not supposed to reach there.
Oh, what's his scheme to get rid of her?
We don't know yet. But I'm leaving for Gavasso's new hometown in an hour. Hey, you want to go along?
Doing.
Pal, we're on our way.
You sure we're alone in this house, Carlos?
I sent my dear Isabel to the movies. We're quite alone here. Come into my room where you can see what I have arranged for our little trip.
I don't trust your arrangements, Carlos. I planned the last job, and it went off perfectly.
Perfectly for you. You got most of the money. And you did not have to see that Jessica look at you when she died. I can still see her eyes staring into mine.
Oh, you've got no guts.
It was not a nice thing to remember. And then the Gray Kitten.
Camet. If I ever see you go soft again about that Gray Kitten idea, I'm pulling out and fast.
She always said she'd be born again as a cat. And that kitten...
Stop it, I said. Stop. Now, let's get our plan straight. When your wife comes home from the movies tonight, you're going to do the job.
Yes. Tomorrow morning, an expressman will call for our trunks. She will be in one of the trunks.
Which will be shipped to New York from where the boat leaves. Then I, wearing her clothes and with her big fur scarf pulled up about my face, will take her place on the train.
When we get to New York, we claim the trunk, get rid of its contents, and disappear.
Right. Then under new names, we go to sunny California with nearly $80,000 that you've gotten out of your latest wife. Which trunk are you going to use for the job?
That old-fashioned flat one.
I'll just take a look at it.
Be careful with it. Do not touch its lid.
Why?
Look closely inside the lid.
There's a thin glass tube running along the inside edge.
The tube is filled with gas. A gas so poisonous that the one who breathes it dies almost instantly. And the lid of this trunk is closed. The glass tube automatically breaks. And whoever is inside...
Why such a fancy layout? All you have to do is choke the old dame.
No. I tell you, I'll never look into a dying woman's eyes again. My wife gets into that trunk and kills herself.
Crazy fool. How will you make her get inside and close the lid?
You do not know the wife I married this time. She called me Puggy Wiggum. Likes to play childhood games.
Childhood games?
You don't know what I've gone through. Her favorite is hide and seek. I will play hide and seek for the last time tonight. And she will be sure to think that empty trunk a very fine place to hide. The lid is very finely balanced, and it is equipped with a snap lock.
Oh, wait a minute. Your Isabel may not be able to cram herself into this trunk. You and she are about the same size, Carlos. Let's see if you can fit in there.
You wouldn't let the lid fall on me, Vera.
Oh, don't be nuts. What would I gain by that?
Nothing. I have Isabel's money. I trust you and get in.
You are a trusting guy.
But hold the lid open.
I will.
The trunk is kind of small for me.
I was afraid of that.
Wait. I move this way. Now I'm all inside. See? But I will have difficulty getting out. Hold tight the lid while I... What? The cat! Behind you with the gray cat!
How did it get in here?
It's going to jump there! Hold the lid!
It's going right into my face!
Don't let the lid go!
I didn't mean to. Carlos, I didn't mean to. That cat! That cat!
That's the door, Logan. Right there, Tracy. Get it, Casey.
Captain Logan. Casey.
Shoot the lock off that trunk, Logan.
Yeah, fast.
All right, I'll lift the lid.
Get away quick, Casey. That's gas.
The windows are open. It'll soon clear.
Not quick enough for Gavassos. I've seen a lot of dead guys, and our pal here is one of them.
You were listening outside.
We heard everything, Miss Lavelle. And I'm arresting you for the murder of Carlos Gavassos.
But I didn't kill him. That cat maybe let that lid fall.
We don't see any cat here, Miss Lavelle. Maybe it jumped out one of those open windows, or maybe it never was here. Anyway, a jury won't swallow that story.
Miss Lavelle, we're going to be sure you pay for murder this time.
Perhaps you are one of the housewives interviewed in a recent big city survey. If so, you may recall you were asked these two questions among many others. When you buy packaged foods, what kind of container do you prefer and why? A vast majority of you said that you preferred to buy foods packed in crystal clear glass. You gave literally hundreds of reasons. Practically all of you, however, preferred the glass package because it lets you see exactly what you buy before you buy it. Included in this survey were many hundreds of young mothers who were questioned on baby food packages. 8 out of 9 said they not only preferred, but insisted on prepared baby foods packed in glass. And their most important reasons were that glass was cleaner and more sanitary, that leftovers can be resealed and safely stored in the original container. Now, you too can have these recognized advantages with the foods you buy. Simply demand foods packed in glass, in Anchor glass containers protected by Tampa-proof Anchor vacuum caps. Both products of Anchor Hocking. A great name in glass.
You and Logan never meant to railroad that Laval dame for the murder of Gervasis, huh, Casey?
Of course not, Ethelbert. We were just putting on pressure.
To make her tell what she and Carlos had done with the body of Jessica.
What had they done with her?
Carlos had buried it about 4 miles away from Greenwood Lake, where the cops had no reason to search for it.
Casey, you and Miss Williams didn't see the cat that made that trunk lid fall and kill the guy, huh?
No, we didn't see it.
It had gone out a window as we guess it came in.
Do you think it was really the Gray Kitten?
Could have been any cat.
Ethelbert, we don't know.
According to that reincarnation idea, an animal might be born again as a human being.
Yes, Ethelbert. That's possible.
Very, very possible.
Yeah, it's very, very possible. Hey, what are you staring at me for?
Crime Photographer, starring Stotts Cotsworth as Casey, is brought to you each Thursday by the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, makers of Fire King oven glass, Anchor glass containers, Anchor caps and closures. All products of the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, a great name in glass. Crime Photographer is directed by John Deese. The original music is by Archie Blyer, and the program features Miss Leslie Woods as Anne and John Gibson as Ethelbert. Thursday night on CBS is the biggest show in town, so stay tuned for exciting dramatizations on Reader's Digest Radio Edition, which follows immediately over most of these stations. This is Tony Marvin saying goodnight for the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, the world's largest makers of household glass. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
This, I believe. Willett Weeks is manager of the New York Herald Tribune Syndicate and News Service. His start in journalism came at the age of 15, and in the little more than 20 years which have followed, his ascent has been steady and rapid. These are the beliefs behind Mr. Weeks' outstanding drive.
Sherwood Anderson wrote that people tend to become grotesques of themselves. The ungenerous become miserly, the talkative garrulous, the proud vain. I believe this happens to me when I lose the central virtue of childhood by failure to continue to reach out, to explore, and to perfect in all possible directions. I believe that a fulfilling life is one that persistently reduces the unknown and the unmastered. It is one that compensates in adulthood for the loss of unself-consciousness by replacing the child's charming egocentricity with a knowing selflessness. There is more than one way of knowing and more than one way of mastering. Obviously, the unlettered often know more without always being able to put what they know into words than the highly educated. Even more frequently, they are better masters of themselves and of their relationships with God and with people. Among all people, literate and otherwise, the differences in understanding are great. It is not the difference between individuals that should matter to any given individual. The difference that counts is the difference between himself as he is and himself as he was. I believe there is a connection between the process of maturing and the riddle of existence. The impulse toward selflessness is too strong and too contrary to the law of the jungle to be explained otherwise. I think that all of us were put here for a purpose, and that the purpose has to do with advancement to a higher order of life. The precise goal toward which I move is not always clear, perhaps purposefully. For this reason, I believe the courage to endure is the minimum ransom demanded for my salvation as an individual, and two, for the salvation of humanity. There are any number of life-enhancing things to urge me forward, not grimly or puritanically, but with good cheer. The key to them is love, and the key to love is freedom. I do not believe that the objects of my love, whether they be people or their works, the face of nature or its laws, or all of these, can be truly embraced unless they have been freely chosen. If this is so, then there is imposed upon me an obligation to further the climate of freedom. That which limits my freedom of choice from the outside must be resisted, regardless of whether the bonds are fashioned by political trend or by some individual wearing the guise of love. Yet the battle must go on two fronts, for I can even more easily be enchained by that within me, by shallow thought, by obeisance to false standards, by heeding the clamor around me rather than my own unique voice. I believe that those who carry the banners of freedom will necessarily stumble at times, retreat at others, but I also believe that they will constantly find themselves on new and higher ground from which the grandeur of life becomes ever more visible. They will see as a child sees, clearly and joyfully, respond as a child responds, spontaneously, but will love as the adult should love, selflessly. Such people will surely become not grotesques of themselves, but rather the embodiment of what humanity itself must become in order to elect and achieve survival.
They're the creed of Willett Weeks of the New York Herald Tribune. He is married and the father of a 6-year-old child.
Crime does not pay.
Good house tonight, Sam.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
The house or proper stay?
Hell, of course. Why a babe like that wants to work in a dance hall?
I work in a dance hall.
Ah, but you, kid, it's a habit. Also, a nice cut of the purse. She sure has class, I think.
Okay, she's got class. She also happens to be Dropper's girl.
Maybe I'm thinking of expanding my territory.
Dropper won't like it.
Neither will you.
You always come back. But up to now, you never fooled with Baines, whose boyfriend tacked sawed-off 38.
I can take care of myself. And for the moment, I intend to take care of myself with Lil.
In the interest of good citizenship and law enforcement, we present Crime Does Not Pay, based on the famous Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer series of short subjects. In just a moment, you will hear Clip Joint, starring Alexander Kirkland. Crime Does Not Pay, starring Alexander Kirtland as Dan Sheridan in Clip Joint. Every city, large and small, has its amusement center, whether it's brightly lighted, glamorous Broadway or just the cluster of moving picture theaters in your hometown. And in many places, the side streets, beyond the brilliance of theater marquees, display their own neon invitations, be it just to drink or to dance. Those who seek amusement along these unbeaten tracks rarely stop to think that they may be easy targets for the illegitimate, for the rackets that feed on the unwary purchaser. Dan Sheridan had that kind of racket. Dan owned the Glory Palace, a dance hall. There, men like Joe Curtis bought their tickets, selected a partner, and tried to keep time to the music.
How am I doing, baby?
The name's Lucy. You'd do better if you followed the music, and maybe I could follow you.
Lucy, baby, I'd follow you if you give me half a chance.
I see. But careful, look out. Maybe she's got a boyfriend approach.
Well, gee whiz, a fella doesn't go looking for trouble.
Oh, don't look so woolly. Come on, Joe. You haven't hurt anybody.
No?
No. Honest, you know, a girl who works in a dance hall, well, she won't get to meet many fellas like you.
Well, I ain't so different from lots of guys, except maybe, I made a killing at the track today.
No kidding. How much?
Enough. For a date, maybe. And maybe another one tomorrow night. And so forth. And so on.
You must have done okay. See, I never win nothing. I always say when Lucy bets on a horse, it's a guarantee the nag will chase the field all the way around, I always say.
Well, you gotta study the dope sheet. Oh, shucks. Just as we was dancing good.
Ah, that's because you forgot your feet.
My feet I forgot. Kid, you don't know the power of that dress you're almost wearing.
Want to talk or dance?
It's up to you, baby.
Look, we're not really supposed to do this, but if you just give me a strip of tickets, I'll sit out the next few with you. Over at the bar.
You got a bar here? And I didn't notice?
Come on, Joe. You haven't noticed anything. Just caught a load of my dress.
Hey, you're regular.
Glad you think so.
Hey.
Pardon me.
Hey, why don't you watch where you're going? Excuse me.
Please. The table all right, Joe?
Any table is okay, Lucy. As long as you're sitting at it.
Joe Curtis. Please remember, I'm just a working girl. You feel all right, Joe? You only had a couple of drinks.
Feel fine. I could drink a gallon of this stuff.
Hello, Lucy. Been here long?
Not very, Mr. Sheridan.
Hi.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Mr. Sheridan, Miss Curtis.
How do you do, Curtis?
Fine, just fine. Sit down. Have a drink.
No, you stay right where you are. I'll pick up our drinks at the bar. What'll it be?
Scotch. Lucy and me, we're drinking scotch. We even like the same liquor we do.
Yes, real romance.
Tea or burnt sugar and water, Lucy?
Tea tonight.
What'd you say?
Oh, just making sure of Lucy's drink. Stay right here now.
Sure I will. I can't move. I've only 2 drinks. Wow, what a wallop.
You'll feel fine after a while, Curtis.
Nice fella, Sheridan.
Oh, I think so.
He your boyfriend?
Oh, of course not. No. He just runs the place, his boss.
Oh. Nice fella.
You said that before.
Yeah, this one is his, Lucy.
Check.
Here you are, Curtis, old man. Private stock.
Thanks. It pays to know the boss, huh?
Right.
Well, here's to it.
Down the hatch.
Bottoms up.
Oh, good stuff.
You live in this town, Curtis?
No, not me. I'm on a selling trip. Here for a couple of days. Sick of sitting at a hotel. It's getting awful warm.
Where's Cash, that's
No use wasting time. Are you sure he's healed?
He's killing at the track. Joey, you're falling asleep.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't keep my eyes open. I mean, I don't want to be sick.
Help him, Dan.
Sure, well, come on, cousin. Come on, we'll take a little walk. If we come back and see Lucy later, we'll just go outside for a breath of air. Come on. Up the daisy and a boy.
Yes, mister?
Well, my friend here, Bud.
Yes, boss.
How many times do I have to tell you not to call me boss in public?
Oh, sorry. Put him in the bag, sir.
Oh. What? What's going on? I'm just putting you in a cab, Curtis. The cab will take you to your hotel. Sure. I don't want to go to the hotel. I want to go... Lucy.
Is he going to be sick of my cab?
He won't be sick till he wakes up. He'll be out of your cab by then, understand?
Gotcha. The usual?
The usual. Take good care of him, understand? Take a load off your feet, Lucy.
Why do I do it?
I don't know. I told you a dozen times. You don't have to work the floor. You're past the taxi dancer stage.
Which reminds me, what's keeping back?
Bud will be along any minute. Nothing to worry about.
I always worry in these jobs. You never know.
You can know with Bud. He can roll a drunk better than anybody I ever met.
Drunk? On chloral hydrate?
Oh, nothing like being sure. Come in.
Hiya, boss. You see, I dropped the truck a mile out of town on 22. Sleeping like a baby in the weed side of the road. Baby's rolled. Yeah. Fast, too, eh?
Nice work.
How much?
Just a minute. Let's see. 200, 450s, 520s, 500s, and some singles.
Not bad.
All right. 2 of these a night will be pretty good. Here's your 50, Bud.
Thanks.
Your 100, Lucy. And the rest in the little tin box.
Hey, want me for anything more tonight, boss?
Not tonight. Good work, Bud.
Okay, anytime. Think I'll go turn an honest dollar.
Oh,
hey, watch your feet, fella. Pick 'em up.
Oh, is that for me?
Who else, eh? Hiya, Danny. Lucy. Meet Lil. Lil Paisley.
Well, the dropper. How do you do, Miss Paisley?
How are you, Miss Paisley? Helping Dropper with his chores this day? He likes my company, he says.
Well, can't say I blame him.
Thank you, Mr. Sheridan. I'm glad to know you at last. Dropper's been telling me...
It's a business call, Danny. Here's what you want. A pint. Chloral hydrate.
Oh, fine. Cash or bill me?
I think it's cute, Miss Paisley, don't you? Knock out drops from the Dropper.
I'll let you have this shipment on the house if you'll do me a favor.
What's on your mind, boy?
Lil here. Wants to work.
Work here?
I'm thinking of opening up a place of my own about 30 miles up the line. Clubberstown. I want her to learn from the maestro.
I see.
Think she'll do? As a hostess, then?
I have been told, Mr. Sheridan, that I have the equipment. Look out, Danny boy. Explosive.
Why, yes, Miss Paisley. I think you'll do. I think you'll do very well indeed.
Good house tonight, Dan.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
The house or Dropper's ding?
Lil, of course. Why a babe like that wants to work in a dance?
I work in a dance hall.
Listen, with you, kid, it's a habit by now. Also, a nice cut of the profit. She sure has class, that thing.
Okay, she's got class. She also happens to be Dropper's girl.
Yeah, well, maybe I'm thinking of expanding my territory.
Dropper won't like that.
Neither will you, huh?
You always come back. But up to now, you never fooled with dames whose boyfriends pack sawed-off 38.
I can take care of myself. And for the moment, I intend to take care of myself with Lil.
Okay, Dan. It's your funeral.
See you later. Excuse me, please. Pardon me? May I, cut in? No, I paid my ticket for this struggle.
And struggle it is, Buster. This is the boss.
Easy there, fella. Here's your money back. Get yourself another partner.
But I picked this girl.
You've got your dime back.
Okay, I heard you.
Very nice, Mr. Sheridan. And to what may I attribute the sudden rescue?
Well, to my desire to eat up the profit and dance with one of my own employees.
Wouldn't you rather sit this one out in the bar?
Oh, I prefer to sit it out in a convertible that happens to be parked outside.
Really, sir? Is this sort of thing tolerated in a respectable dance hall?
Between the girls and the customers, never. Between the girls and the boss, well, Miss Daisy, it's been known to happen from time to time. Better out here, huh? The open air.
I don't care if I never see the inside of a dance hall again.
Oh? But you and Dropper were going into business.
Nothing certain, Dan, except death and taxes are the same day.
As I've been told several times, you're Dropper's girl.
Dropper can be boring.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
I wouldn't expect Lucy to be boring.
Lucy and I are in business together.
Just business?
Just business.
I got it.
I'm not a student of history, Lil.
Meaning exactly?
I'm not interested in the past.
Oh? Interested in the future?
If you're in it, I am.
I'm in it, but is it your future?
Yeah, I suspect it is.
The only suspect, Dan?
You think I'm going to find the evidence right now? Well, what's so funny?
Oh, I was thinking. Dropper, the big menace who takes all the suckers. Who's the sucker this time?
In just a moment, Crime Does Not Pay will continue with Clip Joint. Now we continue with Crime Does Not Pay, starring Alexander Kirkland as Dan Sheridan in Clip Joint. The sudden romance between Dan Sheridan and Lil Paisley was not one of those things which can be kept quiet, at least not in the underworld where Dan operated. Men and women there have the sharpened ears, the heightened senses of the beasts of the jungle. For them, as for their jungle counterparts, a missed sound can mean a lost life. That's how it happened that Lucy Wheeler, standing at the edge of the dance floor in the Glory Palace one night, heard a familiar voice.
You're dancing this one with me. Here's my ticket, babe.
Wouldn't you rather trip us out, Dropper, in the bar?
Not me. I know too much about the drinks in this clip joint. I ain't no sucker. Come on, let's dance.
Okay, if you say so, mister. Say, you're better than most of our customers, Dropper.
And I figured to be. I took 6 lessons once.
You don't talk much. Usually by now I'd ask for a date.
Ain't looking for a date with you, babe.
Well, that's not very flattering.
I want one with your boyfriend.
My boyfriend?
Yeah. Where is he?
You mean Dan? Why don't you say so?
He's your boyfriend.
Not this week he isn't. But he'll be back.
Maybe sooner than you think.
Oh, you know Dan, Dropper. He just looks around and then he comes back to me every time.
He never looked in my direction before.
Oh, you've got nothing to worry about.
Maybe not from Fanny, but I know that Lil. I don't trust her no further than I can throw that piano. With that bum piano player sitting there.
Well, Dropper. Haven't seen you for a long time.
I've been around.
Meaning I haven't?
Meaning you haven't?
I've been busy, Dropper. Almost ready for another shipment, too, in a few days.
Where's Lil?
Outside, working.
No. You know better than that.
Do I?
She's over at the apartment.
This her night off?
Oh, I wouldn't know about that. I don't keep the schedule.
You know, Dropper, sometimes you amaze me. That mask of illiteracy drops off and you make use of words.
Now, don't change the subject, wise boy. I know what she's doing.
Oh? Well, then why ask me?
Oh, I just want to see if you'd try to lie out of it.
Go on, Dropper.
She's waiting for you.
And if she is?
Lil's mine.
Ancient history, Dropper.
Who wrote it?
I did.
Lucy doesn't think so.
This time, Lucy's wrong.
So, she's got you going.
As a matter of fact, I'm gone. Completely. Thanks for bringing her here, Dropper.
I could let you have it right now.
Yeah, but you won't. You won't. I'm too good a client.
Lay off, Dan.
The same to you. Put that piece out of your pocket and you'll never get out of here alive.
I don't figure for you. You didn't double-cross me. I took my chances on you when I brought her here. But it always takes two to make a deal.
Did I call her? Bill, Dan.
Oh?
Dropper's looking for you. Get over to my place. Fast. I'll be there in 10 minutes myself.
He wouldn't dare to do
You
it.
heard me, baby. Do as I say now. You want to live, don't you?
Dan, darling, I came as fast as I could. Dan, where are the lights?
Funny your lights, baby, to see by.
Dropper!
And you know Dane double-crosses me.
Dropper!
I'm smart enough to outthink you and Dan Sheridan combined.
No, Dropper, don't!
Plenty of lights,
No,
baby.
don't!
Let's shoot by.
The door was open, Dan. I saw the lights on. I figured you... No, dear. Nothing to this place. Wait. Hold it. Hold it. Don't run. Play it straight. Operator, I want the police.
Okay, Miss Wheeler, you found her. You walked in and you found her.
I told you, Lieutenant. I've told you.
So you didn't kill her. Sheridan's your guy, isn't he?
I never held a gun in my life. I called you, Sergeant.
She's probably clean, Volterra. Look, get out a pickup on Dan Sheridan. And drop her wood. This was his dame. While the boys are looking for him, Sergeant, you and me'll go over to the Glory Palace. I hear the dropper's been hanging out around there a lot lately. Ever since he pushed this dead one into the lineup.
Okay, Lucy, it's okay. I came over here when I saw the squad cars in front of my place.
Oh, I'm
They looking for me?
David, David.
Yeah, now, Lucy, take it easy, kid.
I was so afraid to right.
Now, what's happened, do you know?
Liv.
Yeah?
She's dead.
Dead?
I walked into your place, the lights were on, the door was open, and I found her. I called the cops.
They're looking for me.
For you and Dropper.
They think I did it.
I don't know. I told them.
Lucy, hold on to yourself. What did you tell them?
That Dropper did it. I heard one of them say a 38. Dropper has a 38 upstairs. I'm afraid I'm so afraid.
You're in the clear, so am I.
But Dropper, Dan, he'll come after
That's
you.
where you're wrong, kid. He doesn't want me. I want him.
Dan, she's dead. She's not that important.
She is to me. And he killed her. He waited in my place. He must have. He figured I'd call her after he left me.
Oh, the cops will get him first. You can't beat them to it.
I'm giving it a try, Lucy. Sorry.
No, I won't let
You can't stop me.
I can try.
What? You don't understand, Lucy. We explained him. We did fine together, but...
You loved Lil.
I guess so.
What do you mean you loved us? You never had time for the soft stuff. You were strictly business all the time.
Until Lil, sure. Stop trying to stall me, Lucy. I'm going up to drop her.
All right, Dan. That's what you want.
He wouldn't go to his own place. Well, Lil.
The pickup out for him and you.
Did you hear any names when the cops were there? Did you hear any names?
Names? I don't understand.
Names that the cops think Lucy thinks.
Well, I heard...
Yes?
The Lieutenant Cooper, I think, and there was a Sergeant...
Well?
It was Italian, Volterra.
Got them. 5th Precinct. They'll bring Dropper there when they find him. They'll never look for me across the street from the station, huh?
I came to keep you company, Dan.
Lucy, beat it.
They'll never look twice at a couple.
I told you, Lucy.
I took a cab and followed you as soon as I looked up the station. Did you bring him in yet?
No, not yet. Lucy, for the last time,
when you
I
asked
told
me to let you do this, did I stop you?
No, not when you saw it wouldn't be any use.
All right, then don't try to drive me away, because I won't go. I'll yell copper. They'll take you in.
All right. I'm crazy to let you, but...
Maybe a long wait.
Not so long. Hear it? The siren.
Maybe siren.
Cops. There's a difference. So long, Lucy.
Dan, no, wait. Wait for me.
Lucy, stop it. Get over there.
All right, Robert. Out of there. I moved out of fast. This is our part.
All right, save this shilling, Sergeant. I'm moving.
Hey, what's the... Look out, coppers! These presents aren't for you. Harry, you're crazy. No, not over the train. Not over the... The kid stayed away. I've seen them all, Lieutenant. Or I thought I did. That guy must have been nuts. Killing a man right between the two of us. What the Dane think we do? Say, please, Mr. Sheridan. Hand over the gun. Crime does not pay. Alexander Kirkland, who was starred as Dan Sheridan in Clip Joint, will be back with you in just a moment. Now, here in person is Alexander Kirkland. In the words of Gilbert and Sullivan, a policeman's lot is not a happy one, particularly when he finds himself in the midst of gunfire, and even when he waits patiently for thieves to fall out and give him the information and the opportunities he needs to enforce the law and to obtain convictions. But think a minute. The key to Dan Sheridan's and Dropper Woods' type of criminal operation is the Joe Curtis type of citizen, who foolishly aids and abets these men and costs himself and you all those extra taxes that pay for added protection and police. As you can see, for the plain citizen who falls in with crime as well as for the criminal, crime does not pay. Thank you, Mr. Kirkland. Crime Does Not Pay is written by Ira Marion and directed by Mark B. Loeb, with music composed and conducted by John Garth. Technical advisor is Burton B. Turtis. The events, characters, and names used in the story you have just heard are fictitious. Any similarity is purely coincidental.
This I believe. William B. Thompson is a locomotive engineer for the New York Central Railroad. When he isn't sitting at the throttle of the 20th Century Limited or working as an officer of his union, Mr. Thompson is an active citizen in his hometown of Croton-on-Hudson. These are some of the things he has come to believe in his busy life.
I've been a railroader for 42 years, as a locomotive fireman and later as an engineer. I've been on the road enough to build up a special appreciation for my home and family and for the town I live in, Croton-on-the-Hudson, New York. Living a happy life among family and friends in a small town has had its effect on what I believe. My creed, if that's what you call it, is built around simplicity. I believe that simplicity brings out the best in all of us, helps us to live happier and more useful lives. Even my problems, and I don't have many, become easy to take care of when I break them up into their simple parts. When I read the paper, turn on the radio or the television, I'm often tempted to feel that the whole world is a mess and there isn't much hope for anything. I learn of children being involved in dope addiction, of gang wars, of students being involved in bribery and cheating, of our government officials being involved in corruption and selling influence. And I begin to wonder what is happening with the world. Still, I think these things happen because the people involved lose their sense of right and wrong in the complexity of college athletes, the complicated machinery of government, and the bigness and loneliness of tenement life in our big cities. I know these things go on, but they don't go on in the life I know and am familiar with. The life I know is good, not bad. The people I know don't get involved in the disgraceful things I read about in the newspapers. The officials in my town get elected because they have a sense of responsibility to the people who live there. I'd like to tell you a little about my town. I hardly know anyone there who doesn't work. A great many people work for the railroad. The others commute to New York. I don't know any families on relief, and I haven't heard of families saying on relief because they're too lazy to work. I think the people in my town are too proud to live on charity. I would be. I don't know of any scandal or crimes in which any of our young people have been involved. For one thing, the kids go to Sunday school and church. So do their parents. The church have young people's clubs that meet during the week, and the youngsters have good times. We have good schools, which we are proud of. The schools have planned recreation, dances, football, basketball games. I've never heard of a player being fixed. Our students play for the fun of it and learn to be good sports. Most of the people in my town turn out for their games. I believe in my town. The officials, well, they're our next-door neighbors. We play golf with the police chief, and our children call him by his first name. No mister is attached, because he is their friend. I belong to a number of clubs and organizations that do things for our kids. Take them to ball games, to polo grounds, have parties for them in the high school gym on Halloween and during Christmas week. The younger generation in our town isn't going to the dogs. They're fine kids. It's when I break the world down into the part I myself know that I realize that corruption and wickedness involves only a small part of the people. I like to think of towns like my own where neighbors live together in friendship and understanding, especially respecting one another's religion and politics. I'm sure there are thousands of towns in America like mine. People, when you come right down to it, are pretty much the same everywhere, and in a town like mine, you get to know them. My town represents my country in its finest and simplest element. I'm grateful for it and for the fine, independent people who live there.
There, the creed of William B. Thompson, who has a son who is a paratrooper and 3 daughters, 2 of whom were in the armed forces in World War II.
Calling all detectives. Catching a crook is generally the hard part of a job. But I once had a case of a crook who was easy to catch and impossible to keep. That is the situation on this page from my casebook. The casebook of Jerry Browning, private detective. One of the first things I, Jerry Browning, learned as a private detective was never make any predictions. The big police car came to a halt at the edge of the live barricade thrown around the Skylight Club building. Standing with me near the sound truck, Lieutenant Dawson of Homicide mumbled,
"Look, Jerry, here comes the commissioner himself."
Disdaining to take cover, Police Commissioner Garrity strode toward us. "Everything under control?"
"Yes, sir. We know Slippery Clayton's inside that building. I tracked him here myself."
The commissioner nodded.
"Good work, Dawson. I want Clayton taken, and after you take him, I want him kept."
Dawson grinned.
"He's as good as taken, and I'll guarantee that he'll be kept, sir."
The commissioner patted his shoulder.
"There's a promotion in this for you, Dawson."
He glanced at me.
"What are you doing here, Browning?"
"One of my clients, the Banking Association, also wants Slippery captured and kept." Dawson glanced at his watch.
"Careful now. Here we go. You men inside the building. The place is surrounded. Come out one at a time with your hands up. Clayton first. You have 1 minute before we open fire." "Don't shoot! We surrender!"
Slippery Clayton came out first, was hustled into one of the waiting police wagons. The rest of the men inside the building let themselves be taken just as readily. 20 minutes later, the entire operation was over without a shot being fired. Along with a dozen other men, Slippery was placed in a detention pen at headquarters. At 10 o'clock the next morning, he was gone. Slippery Clayton had escaped again. Slippery Clayton, notorious hold-up man, demonstrated how he got his nickname by escaping from the police detention pen. Police Commissioner Garrity's eyes bored right through Dawson.
"So, he won't get away from you, Dawson. You guarantee it. Lieutenant, you recapture that Clayton or I'll have you back walking a beat. And as for you, Browning, stay away from headquarters. I don't like your looks."
Neither Dawson or I said a word until the echo of Garrity's footsteps died away. Then,
"Jerry, I'm a plucked and cooked goose. I haven't the faintest idea how Slippery got out of that pen or where to start looking for him now."
"Any chance of his having bribed one of the guards, Dawson?" He shook his head.
"Those men have been with the force for years. Besides, to get out, Clayton had to go through 3 sets of locked doors, 3 sets of guards."
"Are you sure he was ever in the pen?" Dawson rolled his eyes.
"Are you kidding? I personally took him downstairs, locked the door on him. He had no money, no keys, no tools of any kind. I guarantee that."
I looked at him sourly. "Dawson, if I were you, I wouldn't guarantee anything for a while. Come on, let's go downstairs to the pen." We talked to the guards, veterans, some of them with 20 years' service and unquestioned loyalty. Whatever way Slippery Clayton had escaped, he obviously hadn't done it with the connivance of those guards.
"Mr. Browning, our shift came on duty at 8 this morning. We didn't even know Clayton was here. None of us ever saw him before."
"In that case, he may even have disappeared sometime during the night." Dawson cut in.
"No, he didn't, Jerry. I talked to the head guard on last night's shift. Clayton was still in the pen when that shift went off. He got out somehow between 8 and 10 this morning."
We tried questioning the other men in the detention pen, but that was hopeless. Some of the men were those arrested in the raid on the Skylight Club. The rest were drunks or bums who'd been brought in during the night on disorderly conduct charges and were in no shape to tell us anything. While we were there, one of the court attendants came down.
"John Smith."
One of the drunks got up as his name was called, wobbled off with the guard. "What'll they do to him, Dawson?"
$25 fine or 10 days in the workhouse. Maybe both. Why?
No special reason, Dawson. I was just wondering. Since there wasn't anything more we could learn down there, we went on back to Dawson's office.
"Well, Jerry, looks like I'll be back in uniform soon. Commissioner always means what he says."
"We're not licked yet. There's some kind of trick to this disappearance. When we figure out how Clayton escaped, I think it'll give us a clue to where he went." I left Dawson with his thoughts of pounding a beat, then wandered aimlessly around the big old building. After a while, I found myself in a corridor leading to the magistrate's court. I glanced through the open doorway and watched for a while.
"John Smith."
A man standing alongside of me laughed.
"Smith. They're all Smith, they're Jones, they're Brown. Now, one of them gives his real name. They pay a small fine and walk on."
I stared at him. Yeah, they walk out. found Dawson still at his desk. Dawson, I know how Clayton got out of here, and what's more, I think we can get him back. Come on down to the pen. We had the guards take every man out of the pen, identify him with an entry on the police blotter where the names of all prisoners are recorded. Just as I thought.
Hey, Lieutenant, there's one guy here we got no record of. He ain't on the blotter.
We took the man upstairs. At first, he claimed he'd been drunk the night before, had no recollection of how he got into jail or why his name wasn't on the blotter. It took a while, but we finally got hold of the cop who'd arrested him.
Sure, I remember him. Said his name was Joe Brown. I stood right there when a sergeant booked him.
The name of Joe Brown was on the blotter, along with a notation that his case had come up for hearing at 9 a.m. He'd been given a small fine and dismissed. Except that it was Slippery Clayton who'd answered when Joe Brown's name was called. Slippery Clayton who'd walked out the front door, while the man who helped him work the stunt remained in the pen as a nameless drunk. If we hadn't caught on to the trick, he intended to start complaining about mid-afternoon, and guards would have assumed he'd been put in the pen without booking just to sleep off his drunk and released him. As it was...
You tell us where Clayton went, or I'll guarantee you 20 years for jail delivery.
That was one guarantee Dawson didn't have to make good. The hoodlum broke down, told us where Clayton was hiding out, and inside of an hour we had Slippery again, this time in solitary confinement. Dawson didn't get the promotion he'd been promised, but neither did he go back to pounding a beat. Like I said, when it comes to criminals, the only safe prediction is that they'll be caught, sooner or later. Listen next time to Calling All Detectives. Mystery drama, mystery quiz, and a chance for you to match wits with yours truly, Jerry Browning, Private Detective.
Murder at midnight.
Listen, do you hear them? Do you hear the bells?
Bells? I don't hear any bells, mister.
But I tell you, they're ringing.
Look, mister, the heat's got you. Well, you're in the middle of the desert right now. There ain't any bells within 100 miles of here.
But there must be. There has to be. Murderer? No! No!
Midnight, the witching hour, when the night is darkest, our fears are strongest, and our strength at its lowest ebb. Midnight, when the graves keep open and death strikes. How? You'll learn the answer in just a minute in Death Tolls a Requiem. And now, Murder at Midnight. Tales of mystery and terror by radio's masters of the macabre. Our story by Max Ehrlich is Death Tolls a Requiem.
I came into the room and quietly closed the door behind me. It was a room ready and waiting for death. The curtains were drawn, blotting out the bright afternoon sunlight. The air was hot and stifling, the silence oppressive and unearthly. I stared down at the face of the old man in the bed. The old man I hated. His eyes were closed, two sunken shadows against the white wrinkled skin. His waxen hands hung limply over the coverlet. For 3 days he'd lingered while I'd waited for him to die. Now for a moment I thought... But no, his pale lips moved.
How are you feeling, Father?
I'm not long to go, my son. Not long. It's only the bells that keep me alive.
The bells?
Yes, over there in the tower. I lie here and wait to hear them. They seem to rally me. I live for the sound of them, Father.
Yes, Father?
What time is it?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. Peter must be there now. There in the tower, pulling on the ropes, starting them swinging. The Pedwick bells, Arthur. There they are, my son. Listen to them. Your inheritance. Listen to them ring. Oh, what music they make. What beautiful, vibrant music. They give me the strength, the will to live a little longer.
How I hated him, this sentimental old fool, my father. He'd spent $500,000 to bring those bells over from Pedwick, England, the place of his birth. And with them he'd brought the bell tower, brick by brick, and the English bell ringer, Peter Griggs. $500,000, my inheritance, hung in that bell tower. There was no money left, nothing. My father had lost everything, left me nothing. Nothing but those accursed bells. Ding dong, ding dong. They seemed to mock me, taunt me, jeer at me. I hated the very sound of them. But the old fool in the bed babbled on.
Oh, my son, those bells bring back the past to me. When I was a boy in Pedwick, I heard them toll out the hour, every hour. I married your mother to the sound of those blessed bells. And I buried her to the sound of them.
Stop raving about those bells. Stop it!
There's evil in your face. Evil.
You cheated me out of my inheritance, left me penniless. You cheated me, do you hear?
No.
Listen to the bells. Yes, they know. Can't you hear them jeering at me, mocking at me? You're penniless, they're saying. Penniless. Penniless. Die, you fool. Die. 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 You bought those bells, now let them ring your requiem. The bells stopped finally. My father lay there, dead. I turned from his white, still face and half walked, half stumbled toward the bell tower across the grounds of our estate. Something stronger than myself drew me to it. I entered the tower and stared up into the gloomy belfry. Yes, there they were, the bells, gleaming dimly in the half-light, their bronze mouths yawning down at me. And then as I stared up at them, I heard a step behind me. Who's there?
Why, 'tis only me, Mr. Brooke. 'Tis only Peter.
Oh, I didn't see you standing there in the shadow.
So you've come in to look at my little brood, eh? You've come to admire my 3 children.
Yes.
Ah, Mr. Brooke, in all the world there are no finer bells than my wee babies. 'Twas none other than Christopher Hodson himself who cast them in the 17th century. Aye, the master himself. My father rung them, and his father before him, and his father before him.
And these are the bells my father paid $500,000 for.
Aye, and he got 'em cheap, sir. These are historic bells, known to all of England. And the folk of old Pedwick parted with them hard. They gave 'em as a gift, you might say. Your father gave the town an orphan asylum and a hospital. And now he has the bells.
And now they'll hang up there forever.
Aye, and 'tis well, for they're in good hands. Your father is of old Pedwick, sir, and like me, he loves the bells and knows what they say when they talk.
Peter, my father will never hear the bells again.
Eh, what do you mean by that, sir?
He died 15 minutes ago.
Huh? Oh, Mr. Brooke, dead?
Yes.
Oh. Dust we are, and to dust we shall return. So 'tis written, and so shall it be. Oh, he was a fine man, sir.
Thank you, Peter.
Both me and my children up there. We'll miss him. Aye, we'll miss him sore. Oh, little Davy, Big George. Oh, my beautiful Betty, my pretty hussy. You hear?
The master is dead.
You call the bells by names? You talk to them?
I'm like a father to his children, and they talk to me.
They talk to you. The bells talk to you.
Why not? They have tongues, and they have hearts and souls. Come, my babies. The good master is dead. Come, little Davy. Cry the sad tidings. Come, Big George, awake. Cry, my father. Weep, my winsome Betty. Weep, girl. Weep, the master is dead. Sing! Sing a sad song, my lady one of the lost one. Higher! And higher! Weep, my babies. Pour out your tears. Cry out to the countryside. The master is dead!
I watched him, fascinated, as he pulled one rope, then another, and worked another bell by means of his foot thrust through a loop in a third rope. The bells rang and clanged, throbbed and echoed, beat against my brain in jangling tones and overtones. I looked up at them as they swayed, and their mouths seemed to accuse me of my father's death. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand it any longer. I turned and ran from the bell tower. After my father's funeral, I dropped in at the office of Frederick Denny, my father's attorney and executor of what was left of the estate. There were certain things I wanted to discuss.
So you want to tear down the Brook Memorial Tower and sell the bells?
Yes, Mr. Denny. From what my father told me, they have considerable value.
Yes, Arthur, they do. Their intrinsic value, aside from their worth as historic relics and antiques, runs into hundreds of thousands. I've already had 2 offers of purchase.
You have?
Yes. One from a university, one from a museum.
Good.
However, the bells are not for sale.
What? Mr. Denny, you know the condition of the estate. Why, I'm penniless. Dad left me nothing. Nothing. Unless I can realize something from the bells.
I'm sorry, Arthur, but the terms of your father's will are quite specific.
Then I'll break the will. I'm my father's rightful heir, and whatever I can sell those bells for belongs to me.
I'm sorry, my boy. I drew up this will myself, and I can assure you it's airtight.
There was nothing I could do. Nothing. I was beaten, and I knew it. And day after day, night after night, every hour on the hour, I heard those blasted bells. Ding-dong, ding-dong. They mocked me, taunted me, jeered at me, laughed at me. They seemed to talk to me. They talked to Peter the bell ringer, and now they talk to me. Mocked me. Every hour, on the hour. Oh, I hated them, cursed them, blocked my ears against them, but they kept on ringing and ringing and ringing until I thought I'd go mad. Finally, I could stand it no longer. I had to silence those hateful bells once and for all. I had to still their cursed tongues forever. That night late, I went to the bell tower, fevered, in a kind of frenzy, determined to blot out their voices somehow. I entered the bell tower. Peter was there, ringing the bells. Peter!
Mr. Brooks!
Stop ringing those bells! Stop it, I say!
Huh? Stop the bells?
Yes, now! Now, do you hear?
No, I will not. There's evil in your face. You don't like the bells like your father. You hate my little children. You mean them harm.
I told you to stop those bells. I'll make you stop.
Mr. Brooks, what are you doing? No.
You joking me. Never ring those cursed bells again. I can't believe that. Quiet now. Quiet. The bells were still. The awful pressure in my head went away. It had been easy to strangle Peter. His foot had caught in the pedal noose of the bell rope. And he never had a chance. Now I had to make it look like an accident, like suicide. I picked the bell ringer up. tied one end of the bell ropes around his neck, and gave him a long push. Back and forth. Back and forth. He swung in the bell tower like a grotesque pendulum, the rope creaking under his weight. Well, little Davy up there, Big George, Pretty Betty, why don't you talk now, eh? Why don't you talk now?
I'm going mad with the sound of the bells, shaking his fist and laughing at his bronze torturers as he stops them from striking 12 for
murder at midnight.
And now, here is Arthur Brooke again, continuing his story.
There was an investigation of Peter's death. The county medical examiner and I went to the bell tower and looked at the bell rope on which Peter's body had been found hanging.
The way I see it, Mr. Brooke, it's a clear case of suicide. The deceased fastened this rope around his neck, climbed up on the belfry ladder, and flung himself out into space.
Yes, Mr. Holcomb. It looks as though he did just that.
Mr. Brooke, there's one question I want to ask you.
Me? What is it?
Well, a man usually doesn't commit suicide unless he has a motive. Did you notice anything peculiar about this bell ringer's behavior before this happened?
Why, no, nothing except that he was deeply depressed when my father died. You see, my father loved the bells as much as Peter did, and...
that might account for it. But I understand this English bell ringer was rather a queer duck anyway.
What's that?
What?
What? Mr. Holcomb, the bells. They're ringing. How can they?
Take it easy, Mr. Brooke. Take it easy. The tower door is open and wind just came through. Made the bells tinkle a little.
Oh, yes, of course. It was the wind. I'm sorry.
Well, that's all right, Mr. Brooke. After what you've been through, I don't blame you for being jumpy.
Finally, the verdict was official. Suicide. And for 2 weeks, the bell tower was closed and the bells silent. It was then that I had an idea. I went straight to the executor of my father's estate, Mr. Denny, and told him what was in my mind.
Arthur, I'm sorry, but what you ask is impossible. We can't take those bells down.
But, Mr. Denny, you've read the papers. This bell ringer's suicide has made a mockery out of the tower. All the cheap publicity in the newspapers, the sensationalism, the people coming to stare at the bells, why, I feel that my father's memory is being desecrated.
I know, Arthur. The whole thing's been very unfortunate, but we cannot let you tear down the tower and sell the bells, as you know.
Yes, I know. The will, my father's will.
Precisely. And this last wish must be respected.
Very well, let the bells stay. But for the love of heaven, Mr. Denny, can they remain silent? Must they ring any more to remind everyone in town of the tragedy?
Your father specified that they must be rung on the hour, every hour, just as they did in England. And that's the way it'll have to be, Arthur. We're already negotiating for a new bell ringer.
Mr. Denny, listen. Listen, do you hear them?
Hear what?
Bells.
Bells?
Yes, can't you hear them? Can't you hear them? You must hear them, Mr. Denny, you must.
Oh, yes, I do now, very faintly. Your sense of hearing, Arthur, is remarkably acute. Those bells are from the next town, Silver Valley. Sometimes you can hear them here when the wind's right.
Oh, why don't they stop? Why don't they stop talking?
Talking? Bells talking? What do you mean?
Oh, nothing.
Look here, Arthur, something's wrong. You're on edge, ill. Why don't you go away for a good long rest, say a month or so? It'd do you good.
Go away? Yes, why not? Rest. That's what I need. Rest and quiet. Away from the bells. There was a quaint little inn I knew in the mountains, 100 miles away. The food was good, and a golf course nearby, and Well, I made reservations. For a week, I ate, slept, played golf, rested. And then one afternoon, I was in the lobby of the inn, chatting with the proprietor.
Enjoyed your stay here, Mr. Brooke?
Oh, yes, Frank. Fine.
Well, you've been lucky in the weather. I never did see such nice weather. Well,
Frank! What's that?
What's what?
Do you hear? Bells.
Bells? Of course I do. From the church at Greenville, 2 miles away.
But why are they ringing?
Mr. Brooke, what's come over you? It's Sunday, and that's
Frank!
really...
Frank, I'm checking out.
Checking out? Now? But, Miss Brooke, you made reservations for a month.
I'm leaving now, do you hear? Right away, just as soon as I can get my bags packed. The bells. I had to get away from the bells. That was it. That was all I needed. I remember the place when I went when I was a boy. An island off the seacoast. There was an old fisherman there, a friend of mine, and I knew he'd put me up. The place was miles from anything, from the mainland, from bells. I took a train, chartered a small boat, and spent 3 quiet days there. Then, on the 4th day, as we were surf casting for striped bass.
All right, Mr. Brooke, let's see you cast way out into the surf. Nice long one that was. Now, if a striper just hooks onto that bait of yours, why, you're going... Well, what is it, Mr. Brooke?
I hear bells.
Bells? Why, sure you do. The Coast Guard's testing a new bellboy out on those reefs over there. Oh, what's wrong, Mr. Brooke? You're as white as a sheet.
I've got to get away from here. I've got to get away. Bells. Everywhere I went, they pursued me, ringing their accusations in my ears. I left the island, got into my car, drove. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't care. I just had to get away from those bells. And then, some days later, I was driving through a desert area in the southwest. I was deep in the desert, reeling off mile after mile on the highway when suddenly from far off I heard bells. I set my teeth, gripped the steering wheel tight. Enough was enough. I'd fight them now. Fight them to the bitter end. I wouldn't let them master me, tear me apart, drive me mad. No! I had to beat them, and I'd do it now! I drove on, and the bells followed me. They must come from a train running parallel to the highway somewhere over the rim of the desert. Yes, it must be a train. It couldn't be anything else. Mile after mile I drove, and mile after mile the bells followed me. I began to wonder, when would the tracks cross the highway? Tracks always cross highways somewhere. They just didn't run parallel indefinitely. And then off ahead, I saw some trucks and men. It was a construction crew fixing the road. I stopped the car and hailed the foreman.
What is it, mister?
Doesn't the train cross the highway somewhere up ahead?
Train? What train? There's no railroad in this area of the desert.
But there must be. I hear train bells.
Well, I don't hear any bells, mister.
Well, I tell you, they're ringing.
Look, mister, you must have sunstroke or something. There ain't no train within 100 miles of here.
But there
no
must
bells
be.
either.
There must be. There has to be. No. Now I knew what I had to do. I had to go back to the estate, back to the Brook Memorial Tower and destroy the accursed bells I'd inherited. I had to close their bronze mouths, pull out their wagging tongues, smash their glittering faces. They had possession of me. They were driving me out of my mind. I had to free myself of them once and for all. Only then would I be at peace. I headed for home. And every mile, every hour, the bells pursued me, ringing in my ears day and night, pounding and relentless. Back at the estate, I went to the gardener's tool house, picked out a heavy sledgehammer, headed toward the bell tower. The car was just coming up the driveway. It looked like Denny's, but I paid no attention. I ran into the bell tower and climbed the ladder into the belfry. Now is the time. There were the bells leering at me, grinning at me. I'd smash them now and forever. I lifted the sledgehammer and brought it down to the first bell. I'll smash it a bit. Why don't you break? Why don't you break? Arthur! What are you doing there in the belfry? I'll smash them. I'll break them into pieces. It's the last thing I do. Arthur! You stand! Stop it, I say! Stop it! Why don't they stop ringing? Why don't they stop? No! No, don't! Don't
compliment you on this mental institution of yours. It's run very efficiently. One of the finest in the state.
Thank you, Professor.
Oh, and by the way, it must be close to midnight. I didn't expect to stay here this late, but it was so interesting. And what is the time, anyway?
Well, I don't have a watch on me, Professor, but... just a second. Listen.
The bells! There they go again! There they go! Can't you hear them? Stop them! Stop them!
The time now, Professor Alvin, is exactly midnight.
How do you know that, Doctor?
That patient you just heard, Professor, the one who just cried aloud, is a very remarkable case. A human timepiece. He has no watch, of course, but every hour, on the hour, he hears bells.
He hears bells every hour, on the hour?
Precisely, Professor Alvin. And he's never more than a second or two out of the way.
And so a man lies in a bed in a padded cell and hears the bells ringing, ringing, every hour, on the hour, just as he once heard the real bells strike 12 for...
Murder at midnight.
Remember to be with us again when death tolls a requiem and the clocks strike 12 for...
Murder at midnight.
The part of Arthur Brooke was played by Michael Fitzmaurice. With music by Bert Berman, Murder at Midnight was directed by Anton M. Leader.
This I believe. William Garrett Burkle is a native of Chattanooga, Tennessee. His drawl has somewhat been erased, as he has lived and worked in Connecticut for the past 2 decades. He is now a supervisor at the Remington Arms Company, and he makes his home with his wife and 8-year-old daughter in Nichols, Connecticut. Hear now the beliefs of William Garrett Burkle.
I grew up in the roaring 20s, the jazz age of F. Scott Fitzgerald. For a good many years after graduating from college, I was without any firm or positive belief. What could I believe in when all around me there was plentiful evidence of depravity, corruption, and evil? These things seemed to be the usual, the accepted. The headlines were full of them. Then it began to dawn on me that rather than hate and dishonesty, the many unsung kindnesses, honesty, and common decency are considered too usual to be newsworthy. An airplane disaster makes sensational news. The routine flight of a plane makes no headlines. Perhaps I was judging the body of society by its very abnormalities. As the years passed, I also found that despite a measure of material success, and despite a wonderful family, I felt a strange lack, an indefinable aloneness. After a number of years of worry, which was increased by an increasing lack of tolerance to alcohol, and after observing most of my friends leading normal, happy lives in which church played at least a part, I began to recall some of my childhood faith and joined the church. This was no blinding burst of glory fever. There was no dramatic change, but a slow, not-to-be-denied change did begin to make itself felt, and then came adversity and tragedy. First, I took a stupid fall that meant weeks in the hospital and several operations. Then, when I was still in the cast on Christmas night, 1950, which also happened to be our 20th wedding anniversary, our 12-and-a-half-year-old Sally was lost in a skating accident. In the days and weeks that followed, our friends and our minister somehow got me to clutch blindly to my new and infant faith, and it grew as I called on it for support. Such an outpouring of spontaneous and loving help of all kinds and from all people can scarcely be imagined. But still I knew moments of almost unbearable sorrow. One night in May, the bottom seemed to fall out of everything. As I prayed ceaselessly for a way out, for relief, I became gradually aware of a rhythm to my thoughts, to my words. On an unexplainable impulse, I started to write them down on a small notepad. I had never written anything before, but the words simply gushed out, and a hymn prayer was born. In somewhat similar fashion, 2 other hymns have come into being, as have several poems. These have given comfort not only to me, but to several others who have been brushed by the shadow. Can I now doubt the fact that a higher power hears me and helps me? Can I doubt the essential goodness of people? Can I do less than affirm this faith, this conviction? Therefore, I say, I believe in God and in Christ and in God's ministry to His people. I believe in the innate and essential goodness of men when given the chance for expression. I believe that there is some nameless force of evil which works against this, and which, though it may prevail for a time in some instances, will ultimately be overcome by the cumulative forces of good. From all of this, I believe that God has a plan for man and the world, and that I, as an individual, can help Him as He will help me if I will do my share.
That was William Garrett Burkle, whose beliefs were strengthened by tragedy. Now, in times of need, he finds comfort in them.
What's the matter? What is it?
Another case for Nick Carter, master detective.
Yes, it's another case for that most famous of all manhunters, the detective whose ability at solving crime is unequaled in the history of detective fiction. Nick Carter, master detective. Tonight's curious adventure,
Dead Witnesses, or Nick Carter and the Mystery of the Murder Room.
How about having me lunch with me in an hour or so, Pete? I haven't seen you in a dog's age.
Oh, swell, Nick. Where can I meet you?
Well, suppose we get...
Nick, that guy across the street, they got him.
Yes, come on. Maybe he's still alive.
Well, maybe, but he doesn't look so to me. The way he's all coupled up there.
I'm afraid you're right, Pete. Here, help me turn him over on his back.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, he's dead already.
Hey, Nick, will you look at who he is?
Our old friend Louis Morelli, the gangster. Well, he'll never muscle in on anybody's rackets again. He certainly took care of that.
Yeah. Now they can take his name off the blotter at headquarters. But, Nick, did you see who was in the front seat of that death car as it went by us?
Yes, Pete, I did. Slug Barron.
Yeah, Nick, Slug Barron in person. Do you realize what this means? We now have something we've been trying to get for the past 3 years. Evidence against Slug that will let us put him away. Well, every detective on the force, including me, has been trying to get something on that thug ever since he pulled his first job here.
Right, Pete. This should be good news to the whole city.
Pardon me, but is he dead? Yeah, very dead. You know him?
No, I never saw him before, but I did see him shot by someone in that car that went by. And I think it's outrageous that such things can happen in this city.
You say you saw him shot?
Yes. I happened to look up as the car went by, and then I heard the gun shooting, and I saw him fall.
You wouldn't be able to identify the man in the front seat of that car, would you?
I'm sure I would. He was a mean-looking individual, and that big scar across his cheek was very plain. Why?
Nick, this is too good to be true. Another witness. Hey, look, fella, would you be willing to testify against that guy when we catch him?
I certainly would. Such men should be put away where they can't get out. Here's my card. Let me know when you want me.
Okay, thanks. William P. Fletcher, 46 Main Avenue. Oh, boy, We'll call you all right, buddy. We've waited for this for 3 years.
Nick, that's the best news I've had in this department in years.
Have you picked up Slug yet, Riley?
Oh, but the boys will be in with him any minute now. And then with 3 honest-to-goodness witnesses against him, we'll put him in the chair and strap him down tight. And that'll be a happy day in my life.
I know just how you feel, Riley. That's been it.
Yeah?
Just got a report that a man was knocked down and killed by a truck over on the east side. About 2:30 this afternoon.
Huh?
Apparently an accident, although the body was pretty badly smashed up. I thought you'd like to know.
And why did you think I'd like to know?
Because the guy has been identified as William P. Fletcher of 46 Main Avenue.
William P. Fletcher. Nick, that's the fellow who was going to be a witness for us against Slug Barron.
So Slugger's up to his old tricks again.
You think so too, do you?
I don't think there's much question about it. Slug finds there's a witness. If witness can't be intimidated, witness disappears. Simple as 2 and 2.
Hey, you'd better look out for a guy named Nick Carter, then.
I've been doing that for years, Riley. This won't be the first time I've come up against Mr. Slug Barron.
Hey, Chief. Huh? Look, we've combed this whole town from end to end, including up and down and sideways, and there ain't a sign of Slug anywhere.
What do you mean there ain't a sign of him? There's got to be. He ain't left town, has he?
Well, I don't think so, but we can't locate him. Him or the death car, and nobody knows anything about him either. Well, if they do, they won't talk.
Which is nothing new.
Well, if Slug's still in town, Pete, and you guys don't bring him in the next 24 hours, you can turn in your badges.
Okay, Lieutenant, I'll do my best.
Your best ain't good enough. You gotta do better. Can you beat it, Nick? For 3 years, this Slug Barron has been head man in the city. For 3 years, me and him has been at it tooth and nail. He's been the head of every big racket we've had. Why, we've arrested him 20 times, and 20 times we've had to let him go because we couldn't prove nothing on him. And every time we let him out of here, he laughs in my face. Now he kills this Morelli, and 3 witnesses see him do it, and they're willing to testify, and suddenly 1 witness is killed, and we can't find Slug anywhere.
Now, calm down, Riley. Your biggest job right now is to keep your witnesses alive until you do find Slug.
We'll still hang it on him with you and Pete as witnesses, even if he did get rid of Fletcher. Now, look, Nick, wouldn't you like to get after Slug yourself?
Why?
You could call it self-protection, Nick. Don't forget you're a witness now, too.
Okay, Riley, since you put it that way, I'll do what I can to get Slug for you.
But, Nick, Slug Barron is a dangerous killer, and you know it.
Certainly I know it, Patsy. That's why I'd like to see him put where he'd be in the receiving end of a legal killing.
You mean the chair?
I do. And the sooner he gets there, the better off.
Nicholas Carter's office.
Put Nick on, quick.
It's Riley, Nick, and is he excited?
Oh, thanks. What's up, Riley?
Peter's just been found dead in his own garage, killed by the exhaust from his car, the coroner says.
How did it happen, Riley?
His wife says he got back to the house about 7:30 this evening. He drove in the garage and shut the doors, and about a half hour later, she suddenly realized that he hadn't come in the house yet. So she went to look and found the body.
Do you believe it was an accident, Riley?
I do not. It was Slug did it. There's no question about it. He's getting rid of the witnesses, and you're next, Nick.
Okay, Riley. I'll get to work right away. I owe it to Pete as well as to myself now.
Good, Nick. But watch your step, lad.
Right, Riley. Oh, and Riley, I'd like to donate $100 to the fund for Pete's widow. He was my friend. So long.
Did he say that another witness had died?
Yes, Patsy. Pete's just been found dead in his car in his own garage with the motor running.
But that could be an accident, Nick.
It could, Patsy, but it wasn't. No more than that truck's killing Fletcher was an accident. That's Slug's specialty, being clever.
He's dangerous, Nick. Do be careful.
Well, Patsy, there's one thing in my favor. I know that Slug will never shoot me down out in the open. He only does that with his fellow crooks. Fletcher's death looked like an accident. Pete's death looked like an accident. And if he can get me, that'll look like an accident, too, which makes it easier for me to watch out for him.
You mean he'll set a murder trap for you?
Probably.
Nicholas Carter's office.
I'd like to speak to Mr. Carter, please.
Just a minute. Here, Nick. See you.
Oh, thanks. Hello? Nick Carter speaking.
Mr. Carter, would you care to drop in on me and have a little talk?
Who is this?
That's not important now. The important thing is, would you care to come?
Well, why should I be interested in you?
It might be to your advantage.
In what way?
I know something that you'd like to know. I have some information that would help you in your search.
Oh. Where are you?
I'm in the Cascade nightclub. Will you join me?
Yes. How can I find you?
I shall be at the far right-hand table as you enter the main dining room. I shall look forward to seeing you in, shall we say, about half an hour.
Okay. I'll be there.
Oh, Nick, you mustn't go. This is probably the very trap you were telling me Slug would set for you.
It may be, Patsy. Although I doubt that he'd use the Cascade nightclub. That's a little too well known for him.
But, Nick, people who have legitimate business...
Patsy, I can't afford to overlook any source of information.
But there are other ways of getting information besides sticking your neck out for it.
This man's voice interests me, Patsy. I think I might just see what he looks like. Besides, it isn't often that I get a chance to go to a nightclub like the Cascade. Maybe I can stick him with a chick.
Good evening, Mr. Carter.
You sent for me?
Yes, would you sit down?
Thanks.
Care for something to drink?
No, thank you.
Cigarette?
No, thanks.
Just interested in business, huh? Well, maybe I can help you with some information I happen to have.
Yes?
Mr. Carter, would you like to put your hands on Slug Barron?
I'm afraid I don't understand you.
Oh, I think you do. Let me put it in another way. If you live long enough to get your hands on Slug Barron, it means the electric chair for him. But I happen to know that your chances of living are none too good right now either. He's left you alone until he got rid of the other two witnesses. But now that they're gone, your turn is next.
How do you know all this?
That's not important just now. What is important is that you may die tonight, tomorrow, or next week. But whenever it is, you are going to die. You won't have a chance to do anything about it. You'll probably be dead before you even know what the bullet that kills you feels like.
Well, all this is very interesting. I fail to see where it's leading you, mister.
The name is Morelli.
Morelli?
Yes. Louis Morelli, the man Slug Barron killed, was my brother. I came to town to kill Slug myself, but I find I can't do it alone. I can't get to him. But I can help the police to get him.
You mean you know where he's hiding out?
No, I don't. But I do know something just as good. I happen to know that he changes his hiding place every other day to make sure that cops don't trace him. The address of his new hiding place is left with one of his henchmen in an old-fashioned safe. I know the house where the safe is located. And I know that for 2 hours this evening, that house will be deserted.
And what do you want me to do?
Well, I've had some experience in breaking into houses and opening locked doors as well as locked safes. I'll take you to the house. The safe will be opened. You can learn Slug Barron's hiding place, and then they'll do.
If all that you say is true, why don't you get the address and bring it to me? The result would be the same.
Look, Carter, I'm a safe cracker and a burglar, but I'm not a stool pigeon. I may help the cops, but I don't hand them evidence they can perfectly well get for themselves.
That's a rather fine distinction, isn't it, Morelli?
You have your ways of doing things, Carter, and I have mine. You want to work with me or not?
Very well. Where'll I meet you, and when?
Let me see. 5 after 10 now. I'll meet you at 5 minutes past midnight in a doorway at the corner of Perry and Clinton Streets.
I'll be there.
Just one thing. Come alone. I can't afford to have anybody know I work for the cops. If you bring anybody with you, the whole thing is off. Remember, don't bring anybody with you.
Very well, Morelli. I'll be there at 5 after 12. And alone.
Oh, wait till I get a pencil here. All right. Go ahead, Nick. What you look like?
Medium height, black hair, blue eyes, little mustache. Weighs about 135 pounds. Parts his hair way over on the left side. Scar on back of her right hand. Nose has been broken and fixed up. You know him?
Well, not offhand, Nick. But if he's in the gallery, I'll get him for you. Is there anything else?
Not now, Riley. Meet me in a half hour at Daly's lunchroom.
And where is Daly's lunchroom?
Out on Palmer Avenue, near the city line.
But, Nick, that's 3 miles from here.
Right. Daly's is far enough out so that nobody's going to bother us. I'll meet you there in half an hour.
Okay, Nick, okay. I'll be there. I don't know. Sometimes I can't figure that guy Carter out at all.
Come on, I want my...
I think we can talk safely here.
I should hope so. After getting me way out here on the sticks.
Well, what did you find? Did you dig up that picture?
I found him right enough. His name is Lucky Warren. He's one of the big Chicago mobsters, one of the smoothest articles ever came out of Chicago.
Oh, so that's why he looked rather familiar. He belongs to the E Street gang, if I remember right.
Right, Nick. Hey, what kind of a line did he hand you?
Oh, told me he was the brother of Louis Morelli, the guy Slug Barron killed.
He's no more Morelli's brother than I am.
And he gave me a song and dance about wanting to get Slug, but not being able to get near him.
And what was his proposition? He had one, of course.
Of course. He offered to open up a safe in a secret apartment and lead me to it if I went alone.
And what did he say was in the safe?
The address at which we could find Barron for the next 2 days.
That's a hot one. What a phony setup that is. Why, that's nothing but a murder trap, Nick. Why, when you walked into that room, you'd be riddled with bullets like a sieve.
You may be right, Riley. Maybe right. Maybe I'd never get any further than the door of the room. But on the other hand, we've been chasing Barron for 3 years now. If we should have him cornered...
Cornered me, he's setting the trap to corner you.
You can't be sure, Riley. It might work out.
Work out? Nick, I've fought with you many a time in the past, and if the Lord spares me, we'll fight together many a time in years to come. But I think too much of you to see you walk into a house where you can't live 5 minutes.
5 minutes. If I could only be sure that I could live for 5 minutes after I walked in.
Nick, is there anything the matter with you? Are you nuts or something?
No, Riley, I think not. I think I have an idea. It might work. And it might not.
And you might live and you might not.
Now, don't you see, Riley? That's true even if I don't walk into this trap of his. If it doesn't get me one way, it'll get me another. My only chance to stay alive is to get him first. And this plan of mine may be the answer.
Nick, you know you can't...
Hold your tongue, Riley, and listen while I tell you my idea, because I'm going to need your cooperation as I never needed it before. Now, here it is.
Time, I see, Carter.
Yes, Morelli. Let's get going.
Certainly. The house is not far from here, just around the corner, as a matter of fact. I just come from there. The door to the basement is open, and the safe is in one of the upstairs rooms.
And you think there'll be nobody there for at least 2 hours?
For between 2 and 3 hours, the house will be deserted.
And you're going to show me the room where the safe is?
I've done all I'm going to do. The door is open, and the safe is open. The rest is up to you.
I hope your information's correct. I shouldn't like to be caught in a strange house rifling the safe.
That's the least of your worries. That is, catching Slug Barron is much more important, isn't it?
Oh, yes, of course.
Here. This is the house. It's all red brick. Number 42.
Doesn't look very inviting, does it? Gone already, huh? Didn't take you long to leave, did it? Well, Nick, you're on your own now. Nothing here in the basement to interest me. Yeah. Glad I thought to put new batteries in this flashlight tonight. Seems to be nobody here on the first floor. Must be all up on the second floor where he said the safe is. It probably won't bother me until I get up there, which is just as it should be. Must be in the living room. Still furnished. Been a long time since anyone lived here. Yeah, this'll do well enough for what I want. Have a cigarette, Nick? Yes, thanks. Have another cigarette, Nick? Why, yes, thanks. Won't you have another cigarette, Nick? Why, yes, thanks, I will. Now. Sounds as if they're getting nervous upstairs. Now, don't worry, friend. I'll be up in just... Good.
you said you told him the safe was up here.
I did.
Yeah? And what the deuce is he doing down there?
How do I know? I still think you should have brought some of the boys to help you.
Somebody afraid of him?
He's no pushover, I know that.
You guys are quiet. Here he comes now. Get set. These are the creakiest stairs I ever heard. Yeah, there's the room. I can see the safe. Oh, this is some room. No windows in it. And look at this door. Solid steel, built like an icebox. It's so heavy. And still no one here to meet me. Well, at least I can look into the safe while I wait. Yeah, the door's open a crack, just as advertised. Wonder why... So that's it. Very interesting. Well, if that's the setup, I think I'll leave the examination of the safe till later. Now, the chair looks comfortable. I'll wait for my host there, with my gun in hand, just in case. Now, let's see. It's been just 4 minutes since I came up from downstairs. If I can hold out here another 2 minutes at least before they... Oh. So you've come to welcome me at last, have you? Well, Nick Carter, it's been some little time since we saw each other. Formally.
It's hardly my fault, Slug. I've done my best to find you any number of times in the past year or more.
Slug, let me take a shot.
Oh, yes, of course. You're here, too. Have you managed to avenge your brother yet, Mr. Lucky Warren?
How the devil are you? Quiet, Lucky. Come in and close the door. Don't forget you're only a guest at this party.
Look, Slug, let's get this over with. Fooling around with Nick Carter is dynamite.
I don't really see why you should feel that way, Lucky. Nobody knows where I am, so nobody's going to interfere with you.
You ain't telling us nothing, Carter. We made sure of that ourselves. We had 2 men shadow you from the nightclub to the lunchroom where you talked to Lieutenant Riley. We had 2 men shadow Riley back to headquarters. And 2 more follow you when you came here to meet Lucky. Now, Carter, we're sure there ain't no cops following you this time.
You've been to a great deal of trouble, Slug, seems to me, just to get me to walk into a death trap that was corny and as obvious as this one. Well, now that I'm here, what's going to happen?
Carter, I've been waiting 3 years to take care of you, and I'm going to see that you get
I see that you've cut the current off from the safe. If I hadn't heard the hum of the transformer a few minutes ago, I should probably have touched it and been knocked unconscious. Was that what you wanted?
If you'd have touched that safe, you would have been dead.
Oh. That's what happened to that headquarters cop they found on the 3rd rail of the elevator last winter. I thought it didn't look right at the time. You got him to touch this safe and that electrocuted him. Then you dumped him in the 3rd rail where they found him. Very clever, Slug.
You're learning that a little late, ain't you, Carter?
Too bad it didn't work with me. Now you've got to find some other way to get rid of me. Some less clever way.
Are we going to stand around here all night chewing the rag, or are we going to take care of this guy and now?
Take it easy, Lucky. Now that we're all here together, there ain't no hurry. Carter ain't going nowhere.
And with the door closed the way it is, this room is soundproof, isn't it? Lovely room for a murder. And it probably won't be the first time it's been used for that either.
Let me take him, Slug. My finger's getting anxious.
All right, Lucky. But make it good.
I'll make it good, all right.
Sure, Lucky'll make it good. If he doesn't.
Hold still, Lucky. Hold still, Lucky. What are you doing? He's got me, Slug. Get out of the way, Lucky. I can't have you standing in front of him.
That's the idea, Slug. And he's going to stay there for now.
Yeah, so you think you're safe as long as your gun held in front of you, do you, Carter? Well, you're crazy.
No, Slug, you can't shoot me. You can't do that.
Now, watch me. I waited too long to get this gun. So long, Lucky.
No, Slug, no.
Slug, you killed me.
Yes. You killed him. And missed me. What now?
Lucky's body is pretty heavy for you, ain't it, Carter? Now that he's dead.
Not too heavy, Slug. He's better protection than nothing.
Yeah, but you got no gun. So how long do you expect to last?
No, I have no gun, but I do have a weapon. You ever think of that?
Yeah, what is it?
It's Lucky's body.
Put the cuffs on that that mug and guard him with your lives. Take him down to the wagon.
Thanks, Riley. I'm about all in. Don't know why I feel so weak.
Are you hurt bad, Nick?
No. Just a scratch on the head. It's nothing.
Oh, nothing, is it? Sure, it's bleeding enough for two men. Hey, get the doc up here on the double.
Okay, sir.
How about that hole in your shoulder, Nick? I suppose that's nothing, too.
You almost did for me, Riley. I was afraid I wouldn't be able to hold him for you.
Hold him, did you say? Sure, Nick, you done noble. Nobody could have done better, or even half as good. I'm proud of you. I brought this old hurry-up wagon because I thought we might need to use it as an ambulance or as a hearse. Are you feeling better, Nick?
Oh, yes, Riley, thanks. Very much better.
Sure, Nick, you scared me out of 10 years' growth this night.
You got your killer, didn't you?
Oh, sure, I got him after he almost got you. Oh, what a fool you were to walk into a trap like that, Nick.
Perhaps you're right, Riley. Somebody had to get slugged. I hoped I'd be able to take care of myself once I got in the trap, and as it turned out, I was getting pretty weak from loss of blood. I'm darn glad that you didn't arrive any later than you did.
You're a lucky guy, Carter. I'd have killed you if those guys hadn't butted in.
Well, you didn't. So that's that.
That's that, he says. Just like that. What a man.
Look, Carter, these guys didn't follow you up to this house. I know that. How did they know where you was?
Curious, huh? All right, I'll tell you. When I was talking to Riley last evening, some fire engines went by. They gave me an idea. We knew that this house of yours had to be in this district somewhere. And we knew that around here, everybody's so afraid of fire, they'd report even a suspicion of one. So I had Riley wait with the fire chief at the nearest fire station for the alarm. When they got the alarm, they knew where I was. And they came a-running.
When they got what alarm?
The alarm one of your neighbors sent in when he saw the fire.
What fire? I don't know nothing about no fire.
It was a good fire, Slug, while it lasted. But the boys from the firehouse put it out as soon as they got there.
Where was this fire?
Well, Slug, it was like this. When I stopped in the living room on the first floor of your house tonight, I lighted 3 cigarettes. I put a pack of matches under the curtains in each of the 2 windows and laid a cigarette across each pack of matches so they would burn for a couple of minutes before it set off the matches. Then I did the same with a 3rd cigarette and a 3rd pack of matches, putting them under some dry stuff I piled up under the desk.
And when the matches went off, they set fire to the curtains and the other stuff and started a nice little conflagration. And within 2 minutes, somebody phoned in an alarm just as we figured they would. It was a grand scheme, and Nick here thought it up all by himself.
Look, Mr. Brains, why'd you just set fire to the house and not bother with all that trick stuff with the cigarettes and matches?
Oh, if I'd done that, Slug, you and your pals would have smelled the smoke and beat it before we could stop you. But I figured that by having the fire start after you and I got together, you'd be too busy to notice it until it was too late.
Of course, I wasn't there till it was all over, but judging by the results, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah? It's too bad the house didn't burn down with you in it, Carter.
That was one of the chances I had to take. But it was worth anything to get you out of circulation.
Which will be just as soon as we can get the electric chair dusted off for you, Slug, me boy.
Exactly. The murder trap you set for me turned out to be a death trap for you, which is certainly poetic justice.
This has been another of the strange adventures of Nick Carter, Master Detective, which are brought to you regularly at the same time by WOR Mutual. How about a little preview of next week's story, Nick?
Well, next week I want to tell you about an adventure that we had in which Scubby was much more concerned than I was.
Well, that isn't quite true, Mr. Scott. What Nick really means is that while he was doing the detective work that finally solved the case, Scubby was having the real adventure.
You mean that in this case, the solution and the excitement were 2 different things?
Well, yes. We were up against a hijacking gang that stopped at nothing. Scubby set out to help me by getting some information from the inside. But all he succeeded in doing was to get himself in a real man-sized jam.
With Nick getting him out of it, of course.
Oh, of course. Well, if it's exciting, I'll be around listening.
You'll find it plenty exciting, I promise you. So until next week, so long.
So long.
So long to you both. In the strange adventure you have just heard, Nick Carter was impersonated by Lon Clark, Patsy by Helen Choate, Lieutenant Riley by Humphrey Davis. Original music was played by Lou White. The entire production was written and directed by Jock McGregor. week at the same time, listen to another curious experience of Nick Carter entitled
Death in the Pines, or Nick Carter and the Mystery of the Murdered Driver.
This story is a copyrighted feature of Street & Smith Publications, Incorporated. The Return of Nick Carter is produced in the studios of WOR and is broadcast over most of these stations every Saturday evening at 7 o'clock Eastern War Time. And don't forget that the adventures of Nick's adopted son, Chick Carter, are broadcast over most of these stations Mondays through Fridays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern War Time. This is Mutual.
This I believe. Dr. William S. Carlson is president of the State University of New York. With time out for wartime services in the Air Force, he has devoted his life to education as a teacher and administrator. He has served as professor and dean at the University of Minnesota, president of the University of Delaware, and president of the University of Vermont. An important factor in shaping his beliefs was the experience of long expeditions to Greenland as a student of geology. Here is Dr. William S. Carlson's creed.
The lure of the Arctic is of little concern to a generation that looks upon flights to the pole as a daily routine and dreams of exploration in terms of Buck Rogers, spaceships, and rockets to the moon. Many of the values that come from roaming to the far ends of the earth have been lost. On the other hand, the years I spent in the primitive North, satisfying a youthful curiosity, gave my life a sense of direction. During one long, lonesome winter, I lived and traveled with an Eskimo family of 5, the head of which was a noble character named Andreas. Their honesty, sincerity, coolness in the face of danger, thoughtfulness for my comfort and welfare, and generous help in attaining my scientific objectives roused my respect and deep liking. The members of the family were not only amiable, there was about them a refinement of body, manners, and mind. They were a closely knit unit. The relation between Andreas and his wife Ewa was a kindly and sympathetic one, while the 2 children were cherished by both. Parental affection was reciprocated by the children. They loved one another in a helpful, tender, but not sentimental way, nor were the aged and infirm neglected. Andreas's mother, an ancient crone, lacked nothing in the way of comforts and was treated considerately and respectfully. Here as elsewhere I learned that it is the civilized man who could emulate the so-called savage to advantage. I found they knew infinitely more than I did about life and living. They knew when to think, when to eat, when to play, and be joyful in just amount. Above all, they saw that all others got a fair chance to use their gifts to the full. As heathens, they practiced the Christian virtues. They were not just Eskimos, but people I knew in their strengths and weaknesses, friends and neighbors and others who were indifferent to me, but in any case a part of my life. Among them I soon came to the realization that I do not belong to a superior race after all. It was so only in my thoughts. And so during the long months I lived their life, eating their mattock and seal meat, cramped in a hut, using their boats and dog sledges, as thoroughly cut off in the 20th century as they. They taught me enduring lessons in social conduct, the ideal of democratic brotherhood, and the sanctity of the family. Living in semi-isolation, I expected to be lonely, and was half surprised at finding myself lonely so little of the time. Overlong absence from loved ones teaches patience and makes one introspective. Patience, a virtue in a citizen, seemed to demand of me fantastic concessions. Introspection taught me the need of systematic self-evaluation and the worth of the method of science in the ascertainment of truth. The brotherhood of man, the virtue of patience, the need of self-evaluation, the unity of family, the method of science, these are beliefs I hold most dearly. In my present work education, I advocate these beliefs as a way of life that can be grasped and adopted by the humblest citizen. Finally, I believe that not only educators, but all who live in the realm of ideas, owe it to themselves and their fellow men to deal with the positive in modern life and point out those numerous paths of hope by which the world's men and women may work themselves out of their present unhappy predicament. I am confident we will. I look to the future with hope and eagerness for I believe the spirit of man is in the image of God.
That was Dr. William S. Carlson, a distinguished educator and explorer who is president of the State University of New York.
Night Beat.
Hi, this is Randy Stone. I cover the night beat for the Chicago Star. Stories start in many different ways. This one began on an elevated train and ended in eternity.
Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy as Randy Stone.
The night is just about washed up. The sky is getting that tattletale gray around the edges. Another hour or so, 3 million alarm clocks will start yakking against the eardrums of Chicago's dear hearts and gentle people. And a goodly number of said dear hearts and gentle people will stumble to the front door for their copy of the Morning Star. I'm wondering what they'll say when they read the opening sentence of the Night Beat story for today. The line that goes, "This is a love story with the happiest ending I've ever heard." I guess they'll figure spring has got me in its perfumed clutches, and more than likely I'll wind up around a bologna sandwich, and that'll be that. Only if they just keep reading, maybe they'll be in for a strange kind of surprise. It started a little after 10 o'clock last night. I just boarded an elevated train and was on my way to the Loop. The train was pretty crowded, but I saw an empty seat up front, and I hurried for it. I started sitting down without looking.
Anton, where have you been?
I beg your pardon?
Oh, I've waited so long, Anton.
The girl sitting next to me. I noticed her for the first time. About 20, maybe. And so beautiful, so delicately beautiful, it was like your eyes had hit the jackpot, and somehow the grinding elevator train suddenly sounded like a gypsy violin.
Oh, Anton, you shouldn't have gone away.
Look, I hate to tell you this, but I think you've got me mixed up.
Oh, it's so good to hear you, to be near you, Anton. So good.
Yeah, it's good to be near you, too, kid. But...
Won't ever go away again, will you?
I'd like to stay here forever.
Promise me, Anton. Promise me you'll never go away.
Beautiful as she was, it started giving me the creeps. If I'd been Anton, I'd have enjoyed it immensely, but being as how I was two other guys, I didn't see it. And also there was something about her eyes, a disturbing brightness. I didn't know what to do about it, and before I could decide, I reached my transfer station. I started getting up.
Anton, no, don't go.
Oh, lady, look, it's my station.
Don't leave me again, Anton. Please, no.
Now, take it easy. Let go of me. What's wrong with you? This is my station.
Anton, I can't let you leave me again. I won't.
Well, you'll just have to, kiddo. Now let go. My station's on. She folded up like a little rag doll into a dead faint. I bent over her, picked up her arm to massage her wrist. It was like touching a hot stove. She was burning up with fever. Passengers in the car were crowding around. The conductor still hadn't given the signal for the train to leave the station. I picked the girl up in my arms. It was like lifting a 10-year-old kid. She must have weighed a fast 90 pounds. I carried her out of the train onto the platform. Someone called for an ambulance. She was still unconscious when the ambulance came. She looked so small and so lost and so alone. And, well, according to her, I was Anton, so the least Anton could do would be to sit beside her on the long ride to the hospital. She was still out cold when we reached County Hospital. They found her name and address inside her purse. Mrs. Marisha Nowak, 612 Larrabee Street. I waited around to see what was wrong with her. After almost an hour, they said I could go upstairs and talk to the doctor.
Oh, Mr. Stone?
Oh, yes. Doctor, I want to see you about that girl I brought in, Marisha Nowak.
Yes. A relative of yours?
Oh, no. I just met her tonight.
Oh, I'm afraid we've got to contact some relative right away.
Nothing you can do for her, huh?
Do for her? Poor kid's been sick for years and waits till she's dying before she comes to a hospital.
Well, it takes money to go to a hospital, Doc.
Not here. Why didn't she come here? What's wrong with these people? Are they proud or stupid? 3 years ago, maybe we could have done something for her, but now...
Well, yeah.
I don't know, Mr. Stone. I don't know. It's completely frustrating. You study medicine, what good does it do? Sometimes life doesn't seem to make any sense.
Since when is it supposed to make sense?
I sound like this is my first patient. Not very professional, I'm afraid.
But don't worry about it. It's human.
This girl keeps talking about her husband, Anton.
Well, she was talking that way when I met her.
Yes, he's supposed to take her away someplace to Mexico, she says, where it's warm and she'll get well. What do they expect? Miracles?
Oh, sure, miracles. Maybe Mexico was going to be her miracle.
Do you have any idea how to contact her husband?
Doesn't the girl know where he is?
Doesn't seem to, even when she's not delirious. Got an address from her purse, a place over on Larrabee Street, north of Chicago Avenue.
Oh, yes, I know that neighborhood. Furnished rooms with kitchen privileges. Bring your own mousetraps. Lovely.
No phone listing. I was thinking of calling the police.
Yeah.
Trouble is, there's so little time.
Well, how much time?
I don't know. Could happen 5 minutes from now. 5 hours.
Well, tell you what, I'll drop by her address and see what I can find out.
Doctor, she's conscious again. Rational. She wants to talk to you.
All right, nurse. Care to see her, Mr. Stone?
Yeah. The doc turned and walked into the room, and I followed him. That's a nice, promising beginning for a love story with a happy ending, Only when we got inside Marisha Nowak's room, the joke was on me. There was no hearts and flowers. She was even more beautiful than before. Her black hair spread out on the white pillow, her delicate face, and the lovely eyes following us as we came into the room. No fear in those eyes. None at all. Just a sort of questioning.
Doctor, have you found him yet?
Not yet, Marisha. We're still trying. This is Mr. Stone. He's trying to help us locate your husband.
Oh, I hope you find him. Poor Anton. He'll feel so bad if you don't find him in time.
Well, of course he will. That's why the doctor'd like you to tell me anything you can that might help us find him.
But I told the doctor. He went to find work, my Anton, so he could take me away where I could get well and could be a wife to him.
Does it bother you to talk? Does it tire you?
No, I like talking about him. And there's so little time.
Doctor said you were planning on going to Mexico.
To Las Flores, the little town of the flowers in Veracruz. My ring is from Mexico. See? Silver and turquoise.
It's nice.
We were married with 2 rings. Exactly alike. Silver and turquoise.
You think Anton could have gone there, to Mexico?
No, he'd never have gone there without me. The little town of the flowers. Like we planned on our honeymoon. Just like it said in the travel folder. With thousands of blossoms on the water. Perfuming the air. But we went to a real hotel here in Chicago on our honeymoon. Anton insisted on it. Even though we couldn't afford it. It was in the winter and it was cold in Chicago like now. Icicles hung from the trees, breaking the branches. But in the room it was warm. And we had each other.
Look out the window, Mauricio. You know, I've never seen the lake from up high. Isn't it beautiful?
Oh, Anton. I'm so happy, Anton. Wasn't it extravagant coming here to a hotel? I'd have been just as satisfied going straight to our room.
On Larrabee Street? Nah, Mauricia, not on our honeymoon. We left time enough for that. How could you possibly imagine anything beautiful from a furnished room on Larrabee Street?
Darling.
But here, this is different. It's more than a hotel room in Chicago overlooking the lake. This is what we've dreamed of. Imagine it's Las Flores.
Yes.
The little town of the flowers. Look out there, Mauricia. That isn't snow. It's thick tropical foliage. And those aren't icicles hanging from the trees. They're blossoms. And the wind is warm and soft outside. Oh, you'll get well, Mauricia. We don't need money. We can live for practically nothing. Fresh fruit growing on trees. All we can eat.
Oh, we will go there, Anton. We will. And I'll get well there. I'll be a wife to you, Anton. Just you wait and see. But didn't go to Mexico. And then Anton went away.
And you haven't heard from him since?
No. But I don't blame him. Why should a man stay with a wife who's sick?
Oh, no. You said yourself you went away to earn money for your trip.
Yes, that's it. But now if I could only see him once more, just once, to tell him not to feel badly, to be happy for what we had. If I could only tell him not to feel sorry. Because it was the same as if we really had been us, Flores.
Well, you better rest now. I'll try to find him. It's tough when they know they're going to die. It's not that they're scared. But suddenly there's something they feel they've got to do, and time is running out. That's how it was with Marisha Noack. She had to find her Anton to tell him it was okay about a little town in Mexico that neither one of them had ever seen or ever would see. How do you find a guy like that, and what was I doing looking for him? Oh, well. I took a cab back to the Loop. I picked up my car and drove over to the Larrabee Street address. It was a rooming house, all right, and the poorest-looking one on the block. I rang the bell and I waited. A middle-aged woman came to the door.
What is it?
Are you the manager?
If you're looking for a room, I got no vacancy.
Oh, no, I don't want a room. You have someone living here by the name of Noack?
Yes, but she ain't home. She ain't been here all day.
I know that. She's in the hospital.
The hospital? Oh, the poor thing. I was worried about her. She's never been out late like this.
Is her husband here, Anton Noack?
Oh, I know. He ain't been here for a long time. Working someplace out of the city, I think.
Well, do you have any idea where? I've got to find him. Mrs. Noack is... Well, they don't expect her to live. He's got to be notified.
Oh, no. Oh, that poor little girl. For such a long time she's been sick. Come on in, please. Maybe there's something in here written down. Or maybe Mr. Noack's brother would know.
Brother? Where does he live?
Well, now, I don't know exactly. He's the one that's been sending Mrs. Noack money to live on while her husband's been away.
That was a beginning. We found an envelope from the brother in the girl's room, Paul Noack. He lived on Clark Street in the Lincoln Park neighborhood. I drove over. There was a man coming down the steps as I got out of my car. I stopped him when he got to the sidewalk. I beg your pardon?
Yes?
I saw you coming out of that building. You wouldn't be Paul Noack, would you?
Why do you ask?
Oh, I'm from the Chicago Star. I'm trying to locate Anton Noack.
Oh, I can't help you. I don't know anything about him. Excuse me, I'm late to work.
Mr. Noack. Huh. You are his brother, aren't you?
Oh, yes, but...
Well, what's the matter with you?
I don't know anything about him. He's gone away someplace to work.
Look, fellow, I got to find him. Marisha's very sick.
Marisha?
She's in the hospital.
Oh, I didn't know.
I got to find your brother right away.
I told you I don't know where he is. My brother and I... Well, we don't see each other. I haven't seen him since he left.
But he's written to you. He must have. You've been sending money to his wife.
All right. It's none of your business, but I'll tell you. I had one letter from him. He asked me to do what I could for Marisha until he could send for her.
Where was the letter from? Say where he was working?
Someplace in Montreal. He didn't give any address. Some fur company, like Chicago Montreal Furs.
Well, it doesn't sound like you're telling me the truth, Mr. Noack, but I can't see why you'd want a thing like that on your conscience.
I'm telling you the truth.
Well, okay, but don't take it so hard.
Oh, Marisha. That poor kid. I'll see you the first thing tomorrow.
Well, you better make it tonight.
I can't. I just can't. We're right in the middle of our tax work.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I see your point. Only thing is that tomorrow she'll be dead.
It's not true. Doctors are notorious for saying things like that. I don't believe it for a minute.
Would you believe it if you weren't in the middle of your tax work, Mr. Noack?
Now, you had no right to talk to me like that. No right at all. I'll see you tomorrow, I tell you. I'll see you tomorrow. You get out of my way. Get out of my way and stay out of my life. Stay out of my life or you'll regret it, Mr. Stone.
Now, what was that for?
NBC is presenting Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy as Randy Stone.
A love story with a happy ending. Yes, that's what the man said. Only right at the moment, if there was any happiness in the world, it was staying out of my sight. Almost midnight, and Marisha Nowak up at the hospital, hanging on to life by her fingernails until I could find her husband, Anton. Nothing to go on but the name Anton's brother had thrown at me, the Chicago-Montreal Fur Company. I looked it up in the phone book. It was there, all right. I started dialing the number. I didn't imagine anybody be around this time of the night, but it was the only lead I had at the moment. There weren't too many moments left. All I could think about was what the doctor had said. Maybe she's got 5 hours. 5 hours. No, nobody's going to answer.
Hello?
Hello. This is a reporter on the Chicago Star.
There's nobody here. All gone home.
Look, I'm trying to locate a man who's working for your company.
There's nobody here. I'm cleaning woman. Call tomorrow.
No, wait, please. Listen, I don't have any time. This is very important. Can you tell me how I can locate the manager of your company?
Manager gone home at 5 o'clock. This is the cleaning woman.
Oh, yes, I understand that, but can you please tell me the manager's number? I've got to telephone him now.
Oh, just a minute.
I waited. Seemed like forever while she went for the number.
Hello?
Yeah, were you able to find it?
George Swanson. Lakeview 42311.
Lakeview 42311. Thank you very much.
Tell him I didn't give out the number, only because it's an emergency.
Yes, all right. I'll tell him. Thank you. Goodbye. LA 42311. Hello, Mr. Swanson.
Yes?
I'm sorry to trouble you, Mr. Swanson, but it's very important. My name is Stone. I'm a reporter on the Star. I'm trying to locate a man who works for your company, an Anton Nowak.
We have no one by that name working for
What?
us. What was that name?
Anton Nowak.
Never have had since I've been with the company. Of course, we're an old firm. May have been a way back.
Oh, no. This would have been in the last year or so.
No, sorry.
Would you have any way of knowing if he worked at your Montreal branch?
We have no Montreal branch.
Isn't your company the Chicago-Montreal Fur Company?
Yeah, that's right. We haven't had a branch in Montreal for years. That used to be our headquarters when the company first started, but we're strictly a Chicago firm now.
Oh, I see. Well, thank you very much. I'm sorry to trouble you.
No, not at all. Oh, if it's going to be printed in the papers, don't forget to mention our name.
No, I won't. Goodbye, Mr. Swanson. Something was beginning to smell, and it wasn't just the west wind out of the stockyards. I checked the vital statistics on deaths. No Anton Nowak since 44. Checked the police records for amnesia cases. In the Central Bonding Company files, Paul Nowak was listed as a night auditor with the Great Lakes Bank Reserve over on State Street. I drove around to State Street and rang the night bell at the Great Lakes Reserve. The watchman wouldn't let me in, but in a couple of minutes, Nowak came out of the building alone. His face was white as he came toward me.
Why did you come here?
Well, your brother doesn't work for the Chicago-Montreal Fur Company. I thought you'd want to know.
No, I don't want to know. I don't want to know anything about him.
Your own brother?
You had no right to come here. No right. Do you hear? This is my work.
Well, sure, but I didn't think you'd mind. After all, you've got nothing to hide.
Of course I have nothing to hide. They know me here. I'm respected. I have a position of trust. You have no right to come here and make trouble for me. It's taken me years to get where I am.
All right, now, just take it easy. Nobody's interested in making trouble for you. But I am interested in finding Anton Nowak, and whether you like it or not, that's what I intend to do.
Well, then find him. Find him, only stay away from me. Stay away from my work. I can't help you. I told you that. Now stay away from me.
I didn't have time to twist his arm. As a last resort, I headed across town to police headquarters, Bureau of Missing Persons, of my old friend, Sergeant Adams.
No, Randy, no. He's never been listed as a missing person. Somebody would have had to report him, his wife or a brother, for us to have a record on him.
Yes, Adams, I know that, but the guy is missing.
You say you checked the death records.
That's right.
How about hospital records?
Well, there's nothing to go on and not enough time, Adams. I tell you, I got to find the fellow tonight, tomorrow, the latest.
Yeah. Date of disappearance, May 10th, 1948. Did you check the arrest records for that date?
Nothing under Nowak.
How about John Doe's?
John Doe's? No, I never thought of that.
Yeah, well, come on. It won't take much time. You never can tell.
Just might be something.
Usually you find something on these John Doe's after you had them a while. FBI prints, pictures, or else they just break down and tell us who they are. course, if they're just John Doe drunks, just a matter of sobering them up. Right in here, Randy. Hi, Mac.
Hello, Adams.
Arrest record's 48 May 10th.
Okay.
You better make it May 11th, too.
You the guy that phoned earlier?
Yes, I phoned.
Nothing under those names you asked about.
Yeah, Mac. Yeah, we want to have a look at the John Does.
Here you are.
Yeah. May 10th. A's, B's, C's, D. Day. Dalton, Denver, Dill, Doe. John Doe, drunk. John Doe, drunk. John Doe, drunk.
Must have been kind of drunk out there.
Here's one. John Doe, armed robbery. Let me see the file on this one, Mac. 192701.
Right. You think there'd be any information in the file?
You never can tell, Randy. Personal property slip sometimes has information you can use.
Here you are. 192701.
John Doe, age 23, hair dark, eyes brown, height 5'10", 3/4, no identifying scars.
Well, that age is right. It could be Noack. What'd he do?
Hold up. Captured by the victim. Must have been new at the game.
Let's look at what else you got, huh?
Yeah, we'll have a look at the personal property list. Stuff he had on him when he was booked. Brown suit, white shirt, blue striped tie, no hat, white handkerchief.
What is this under jewelry?
One only, hand ring, Indian.
Silver and turquoise. What else?
Cash, 8 cents.
Identification?
No. That's about all. Oh, here's a note. I guess he was trying to get away. One only, travel folder on Mexico.
I'd found him. Anton Noack was John Doe, arrested for robbery May 10th, 1948, convicted and sentenced to Joliet for 2 to 5 years, still under the name of John Doe. It was beginning to fit together, sure. He didn't want her to know. That's why he hadn't written. That was the reason for the lie about the job in Montreal. He was afraid it would hurt her. And the prison record, that's why his brother wouldn't tell where he was. Afraid that somehow Anton's crime would reflect on his own bank job. I jumped into my car and headed out Ogden Avenue towards Joliet, over 30 miles away. It was the middle of the night. I had no idea what I could do when I got there. All I knew was I had to get there fast. Maybe he'd been released. Maybe I could talk the warden into letting him out with me under guard. Maybe I could put a call through to the hospital. He could at least talk to her on the phone. I didn't know. When I got to Joliet, the place was lit up like Soldiers Field. The guard took me inside to the warden. He was dressed. He seemed to have been expecting me.
Now, you're a little late, Stone.
Doesn't anybody go to bed around here?
Yeah, the rest of the boys have been and gone.
Rest of what boys?
The other papers.
You mean they got here ahead of me?
Oh, why, of course. The break happened a couple of hours ago.
A break? I thought there was something funny about all those lights and everybody being up at this time of the night.
Isn't that why you're here?
No, I came up to see a fellow. What happened?
One of the men suddenly decided he wanted out. Grabbed a gun away from a guard and started blasting away. Had to shoot him to stop him.
Not an organized break?
No, he was alone. Can't understand it. Model prisoner. Coming up for parole in a month. And tonight he just blows up. Poor fellow.
His name wouldn't be John Doe, would it?
One of many. How did you know?
Well, he might be the fellow I was coming up to see. Chicago number 192701.
Yeah. Say, that's a shame. He's in a hospital cell down the hall.
I see him?
He's pretty bad off.
I'd like to see him if you don't mind, Warden.
Come on.
Thank you.
Funny about these John Does. Did you know him?
No, I don't. I think I know his wife.
Usually something pretty decent about them. Trying to protect their families, mostly. Can't hardly blame them either. Oh,
hello, Warden.
Doctor, this is Mr. Stone.
Mm-hmm.
One of the Chicago papers. All right if we go in and talk to him for a minute?
Well, I'm afraid it won't make much difference, Warden.
Go ahead, Stone.
Thank you. Hello, fella.
Hi.
I don't want to bother you, but I came up here tonight looking for a fellow named Anton Noack.
My name's John Doe.
Yeah, this Anton Noack, I never met him, but from what I hear, he's quite a guy.
I wouldn't know.
I had it from a girl named Marisha, his wife, I believe. She loved him quite a lot. By the way, that ring you're wearing, where'd you get that?
I stole it.
Really? Why would anyone steal a cheap little bit of silver and turquoise?
I happen to like it.
Uh-huh. I saw one like that on a girl once. It was a wedding ring. The girl liked it, too. This fellow Noack gave it to her, but then he got into some sort of a jam. He had to go away for a while. Didn't tell her anything about what happened. He was afraid it might have hurt her.
Would have killed her.
No. Would have made her unhappy, maybe. But she would have understood. She loved him an awful lot. She would have been glad he was squaring things up. She loved him an awful lot.
What do you want, mister?
Well, like I said, I was just looking for a fella. Just one question for the paper. I'm sorry I have to ask you, but how did you happen to pick tonight to break out? Why didn't you wait for your release?
I don't know. Something made me. Something kept telling me she needed me.
Doctor, quick.
Marisha. Flowers on the water. How beautiful in the sunlight.
He's gone.
Instinctively, I looked down at my watch. 2:35 in the morning. A nice lonely time to make your curtain call. 2:35 a.m. Fine little night I've been having. I really felt low. I telephoned the story into the paper and went back to the hospital. I wasn't going to be much help to Marisha, but I promised to come back. The doctor was in the hall working over some reports at the night desk. He looked up when I stepped out of the elevator.
Hello, Mr. Stone.
Hello, Doc. I found our Anton all right. A little too late, though. Dead.
Really? Wouldn't have made any difference.
She,
Yeah? I'm making out the report now.
Oh, great.
Wasn't so bad, Stone. Wasn't bad at all. She was happy. I've never seen anyone so happy.
What did she have to be happy about?
Oh, who knows? But right at the last, this wonderful smile came across her face. I guess it was delirium. She kept saying something like, flowers on the water.
How beautiful in the sunlight?
Yes, that's what she said. How did...
That report that you're making out, Doc, tell me. What was the time of death? Tell me, Doc, please.
Oh, it's 2:35 a.m. Why?
2:35 a.m. Yeah. So here I sit, watching the dawn creeping up on Chicago, tapping out 30 to my story for the night. A love story, no less. A very pessimistic fellow once wrote, when two people really love each other, there can never be a happy ending. Well, it could be. But then again, maybe that pessimistic fellow used one word too many. Maybe when two people really love each other, there can never be an ending. Oh, who knows? You pays your money, and it takes your choice. Copy, boy.
Night Beat, a new dramatic series, stars Frank Lovejoy as Randy Stone. Night Beat is edited by Larry Marcus and directed by Warren Lewis. Music is by Frank Worth. Others in tonight's cast were Joyce McCluskey, Vic Perrin, Jack Edwards, Jerry Hosner, Rena Craig, Larry Dobkin, and Charles Seal. Frank Lovejoy will next be seen in Milton Sperling's production Rock Bottom, released by Warner Brothers. Listen next week at this same time and every week as Randy Stone searches through the city for the strange stories waiting for him in the darkness. The stories that come out of the shadows to find their way into Night Beat. There's more great action-packed entertainment for you throughout the week on NBC. Other mystery adventure programs include such popular shows as Dragnet, High Adventure, and Christopher London.
This I believe. Mr. William H. Danforth is primarily a businessman. He is the founder and chairman of the board of Ralston Purina Company, the large feed and cereal business. His interests and time, however, are not limited to his some 30 mills throughout the country. His favorite avocation is the American Youth Foundation and the Danforth Foundation. The personal creed he developed in his 80-odd years is perhaps startling and at least unique. Here is William Danforth.
As a boy, I lived in the country surrounded by swamps. I had chills and fever, and when I came to the city to school, I was full of malaria. One day, a teacher took me by both shoulders, and in a voice I'll never forget, said, "Bill Danforth, you're a mess." He told me to straighten up, throw my shoulders back. He said, "I dare you to be the healthiest boy in the class." That teacher opened up a whole new world to me. Of the 52 in that class, now only 2 are left. One of these 2 was the sickest boy in the class. From that day, I started to stand tall. I take care of my health. This means a sensible diet, plenty of rest, good habits. I walk at least a mile a day. Every morning I take my exercises. I hate them, but I do them. I reach for my toes 50 times, and 50 times I turn my body to the right and to the left, the liver squeezer. Every day I eat something green. Every day I drink 8 glasses of water. But a strong body alone isn't enough. I must also think tall, develop my being. To me, this means reading a book a week. In the back of each book, I make notes as I read. Also, I make it a daily practice to meet people who know more than I do. I learn from them and add to my knowledge. I get a lot of inspiration from the sermon I hear on Sunday. Much of what I know has come from others. Many of the ideas that seem original with me really aren't mine. I borrowed them from friends and neighbors and even strangers. Then I dare myself each day to smile tall. I've learned that if I start out in the morning with a grouch and a chip on my shoulder, I promote arguments and troubles. I found that smiles attract smiles. Sure, there are lots of mornings I don't feel like smiling, but I smile anyway, and smiles keep coming my way. Often I've walked down the street thinking of something that made me smile, and have been surprised to have strangers smiling back at me. Smiling tall has brought me friends. But most important of all, I found that I must live tall. What would be accomplished if I had a strong body, an alert mind, and a winning personality, if my friends, my neighbors, and my business contacts couldn't depend on my word? No great achievement stands the test of time unless it is based on honesty, truthfulness, integrity, clean living, and a love for our fellow men. This foursquare plan of living has become my religion, a religion that encourages me to strengthen my body, to think more creatively, to develop a more friendly personality, and to so live that others have confidence in me. Stand tall, think tall, smile tall, live tall, if you please. After more than 80 years, it continues to make me start each day determined to beat my yesterday. And for tomorrow, it makes me ask, what next? This I believe.
That was the creed of businessman William H. Danforth. He believes in the challenges and the challenging of life, and so in whatever he does, he never gives less than his best.
The makers of Camel cigarettes present Dick Powell as Richard Diamond, private detective. Why are Camels by far America's most popular cigarette?
Two of the reasons are flavor and mildness. No other cigarette has Camel's rich, full flavors.
And No other cigarette offers this proof of mildness. In a coast-to-coast test of hundreds of people with normal throats, noted throat specialists reported not one single case of throat irritation due to smoking Camels.
Try Camels yourself. Then you'll know why Camel leads all other brands by billions of cigarettes per year.
Here transcribed is Richard Diamond, Private Detective, starring Dick Powell.
Diamond Detective Agency, we make crime pay for $100 a day.
Hi.
Plus expenses. Hi, Helen.
I'd like to hire you.
No cut rates for attractive redheads.
But I'm a working girl. I only make $12.40 a week.
Doing what?
Running an elevator in the automat.
My dear girl, there are no elevators in the automat.
Oh, no wonder they wouldn't give me a raise.
Oh, that's funny.
I want to hire you to protect me from a man. He's been bothering me.
And just who is this man?
His name's Richard Diamond.
Well, no wonder he's been bothering you. You've been bothering
Will
him.
you take my case?
Just as far as my apartment. We'll open it up and have a party.
Oh, you're ridiculous.
Only when I try hard.
I miss you.
I saw you last night. You're just bored.
Uh-huh. And I miss you. I'm lonesome.
I'm broke. I gotta hang around and pray for a client.
Well, I've got a wonderful suggestion. Why don't you come
Uh-oh.
over? What?
Mr. Diamond?
Why, yes. Come in.
Rick, who is it?
I don't know, but I'm making plans for some extensive research.
I didn't mean to disturb you.
I don't know how you could help it.
Rick, who is that?
I'll call you back when I find out.
That's a girl.
It certainly is.
Rick!
Bye.
Now, Rick, you...
Your girl?
Hmm?
On the phone.
Just an old wealthy aunt. She's leaving me her lumber fortune.
Oh, nice.
Yes, sit down. Sit down, Miss,
Simpson. Mrs.
Oh, yeah.
So you have an aunt in lumber.
Oh, yes. Broke one day, made $1 million the next. Discovered trees on her property. Trees on her property? Well, what are you going to do?
I came in to hire you, Mr. Diamond.
You have a kind heart and plenty of money, I hope?
My husband needs protection.
Yeah.
I beg your pardon?
Nothing. Just snapping at judgments. Occupational hazard.
My husband is John Simpson. Perhaps you've heard of him.
The John Simpson?
Yes.
No.
He's retired. He discovered oil on his property.
Oh, that one. Oh, sure. He was responsible for my bearings burning out at 700,000 miles.
He was walking in the garden the other day.
Going to drill in the daisy bed?
Someone shot at him.
Oh.
He's all right. They didn't hit him. But I've been terribly worried ever since.
Not to mention how your husband feels.
He wouldn't call the police and wouldn't give me a reason.
But he wants me to protect him.
He doesn't even know I've come to see you.
Oh, what's he going to say?
I'm hiring you, and I hope you'll understand.
Well, I hope so, too. I charge $100 a day in expenses.
I have my own bank account.
How nice. Diamond Detective.
Who is she?
Well, Aunt Hannah.
What?
Oh, that's nice, Aunt Hannah. I think spruce is just the thing.
Aunt Hannah. Spruce. Richard Diamond,
Of course, Aunt Hannah. I'll talk to you later.
I knew it. She's a blonde.
She sure is, Aunt Hannah. Aunt Hannah.
The one with the trees.
Thinking about buying a carload of spruce.
How nice.
Am I hired?
Of course.
Then let's get out of here. Aunt Hannah might be over with a bat.
Spruce?
Of course. Well, that's how it started. A lovely blonde named Simpson with a wealthy husband. The husband had ducked a bullet in his garden, and now the lovely blonde wanted protection for him. A few casual jokes, a fat retainer, and Richard Diamond was once more in the ranks of the employed. We left the office and climbed in our station wagon. 40 minutes later, we were pulling up in front of the Simpson house on Long Island. Ah, quite a place.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, if you like money.
John's probably in the study. May I take your hat?
Well, I'll just keep it with me. Your husband might not want a bodyguard.
Well, you're back in a hurry.
Oh, hello, Ralph. This is Mr. Diamond.
Glad to meet you, Mr. Diamond.
Hello.
This is Ralph Simpson, Mr. Diamond, my stepson.
People are more inclined to think we're brother and sister.
Well, I can understand.
Ralph was the one who suggested you.
Oh, why me?
Reputation.
Looks like everyone knows about me but the man I'm supposed to protect.
And he won't like it much at first.
I've already been briefed.
But whether he understands or not, It's most necessary he has protection.
Well, let's get it over with.
Hello, dear.
What is this, a convention?
Hello, Jane.
Hello, Professor.
Who is this man, this person with the hat?
This is Mr. Diamond, John. Mr. Diamond, this is my husband, Mr. Simpson.
Yeah.
Charmed.
And this is Professor Fisher.
How do you do, Mr. Diamond?
Hello, Professor.
What do you do, young man?
Do?
Mr. Diamond is a private detective, dear.
What?
Now, dear, it was my idea.
A private detective?
Now, just relax.
Oh, go away, you quack. I've been relaxing enough. I can't think straight anymore. You've been making me relax so much.
If you're not careful...
Jane, I told you I didn't want anyone.
But after being shot at...
Did she pay your retainer, Diamond?
Yeah.
Did she explain my feeling on this subject?
Well, yeah.
And you still took the money?
I've been poor.
I told every one of you I can take care of myself.
You know, I think he's right. Here's your retainer, Mr.
But, Mr.
Simpson.
Diamond, please.
Where do you think you're going?
Out to find the guy who took a shot at you and give him some target practice.
You've been paid a retainer to do a job. Now, let's see you do it.
Oh, John.
I had a feeling you were going to do something like this. Bring in a private detective or a policeman or something. Well, if he's supposed to give me protection, that's what he'll do. Now, all of you, get out of here. I want to talk to this Mr. Diamond.
Thank you, John.
I'll see you at dinner, dear.
Now, you take care of yourself, you old scoundrel.
Oh, beat it!
Goodbye, Mr. Diamond.
Nice meeting you, Professor.
Well, Mr. Diamond, I have a feeling you might regret this job.
It's possible.
I really wanted you. I was just keeping up a front for the benefit of the family.
Is Professor Fisher one of the family?
An old friend. Professor Fisher's a psychologist. After my stroke, he came to help me. He teaches me how to relax.
You had a stroke?
3 months ago. The professor has been a great help.
You have a physician also?
I don't need one. Now, as long as you're here to protect me, I might as well tell you what it's all about.
Answer me one question first.
I'll try.
Why not call in the police?
I have you. Do I need the police now?
When someone takes a shot at someone, I think the police should be the first to know about it.
Now, if you are quite done, Mr. Diamond, I'll continue.
I'm well done.
This morning, if my wife had brought you in, I would have had you thrown out. I didn't want any outsiders mixed up in this.
What changed your mind?
A letter. Here.
Mm-hmm. Type.
Oh, read it.
All right, I will. I missed you in the garden. I won't miss again. You'll pay for
Ashanti. It's in Africa.
Oh.
20 years ago, I was in the mining business. I had a partner, Frank Victor. We didn't get along, and there was an argument one day in the mine. It was quite a scrap, and there was a cave-in. I got out. Frank didn't. There was an investigation, and I was cleared.
Why tell me?
The shooting in the garden could have been any crackpot. I didn't want any publicity, so I didn't want any outsiders. Then this letter. I have to confide in someone so they'll know who to look for.
Who else knew about it?
No one that it should make any difference to. Victor was a bachelor, without a family.
Could be blackmail. Someone who was there or at the investigation.
Then why shoot at me?
To give you a good scare. You'll probably get another letter demanding money.
This person must be caught. In my position, I can't afford the scandal.
Now, you say I'm the first one you've told. Outside of your family?
I haven't told my family a thing. Even my first wife didn't know about it.
And you've heard nothing of the incident for 20 years?
Nothing.
Well, I'll see what I can find out. I promised John Simpson my confidence. He offered me a large bonus if I should discover who had sent him the threatening letter. Then I borrowed one of his cars and drove back to the city, where I looked up an old friend, Lieutenant Levinson, 5th Precinct Police Station.
Well, the smiling gumshoe.
Well, hello, happiness and light. Want to do me a favor?
Depends.
Well, if you can strain your arches, I'd like some confidential information on a few people.
What is in it for me?
I promise not to tell anyone what a mercenary policeman you are.
I'd like dinner, maybe a big steak.
You'll get dinner, maybe chow mein.
You got a deal with that restaurant?
Certainly. They saved me all the leftover fortune stuck in the cookies.
Who are you interested in?
I want to know about a young guy named Ralph Simpson, an attractive blonde named Mrs. Simpson, and a man named Professor Fisher.
Simpson, and Fisher.
The boy named Ralph is the son of John Simpson.
No.
Yeah.
The John Simpson?
Know who he is?
No.
Well, unlike my Aunt Hannah, who discovered trees in her property...
Your Aunt Hannah?
Simpson discovered oil.
Oh, that one.
His wife is the blonde.
Which blonde?
The one I want you to check on, Mrs. Simpson.
Oh, how silly of me. I should have known.
Don't forget the professor.
I thought you said his name was Fisher.
I did.
How does he fit in with Simpson?
A friend of the family. Now you got everything?
Sure. Blonde named Mrs. Simpson, a son named Ralph.
He's not her son.
Well, you just said...
He was John's son.
Who's the blonde? John's other wife? John's other wife.
That's right.
Oh.
He's her stepson.
Oh. Well, why the devil do you want me to check on these people?
I'm thinking about having a bridge party.
Give me the rundown on them.
Sure. Walt.
Huh?
Put your shoes on.
Oh.
I gave Walt the rundown he wanted and headed for the newspaper where I knew I could wallow through the morgue file and not be disturbed. I went back 20 years and after wallowing for 3 or 4 hours found a small article dated Ashanti, Africa, 1930. It didn't say much more than what John Simpson had already told me. It mentioned the mine cave-in and the pending investigation on the death of Frank Victor. In an edition dated 3 weeks later, I found the account of the investigation, and it verified Simpson's story. I left the newspaper and went back to my office to check on a few things. Then, as I was about to leave and close up until I'd finished the case, I got a phone call. Yeah?
Diamond?
Yeah?
This is John Simpson. I took a chance you might be in your office.
Oh, I was just coming back out there.
This is John Simpson. I took a chance you might be in your office.
Yeah, you said that.
I'd like you to pick up something for me.
Oh, sure.
It's a package. It's at a bar on 57th Street. The Blue Pheasant.
The Blue Pheasant on 57th Street.
Mr. Diamond, this is John Simpson.
Yes, I know. Anything else? Hello. Mr. Simpson.
Bring it out to me right away. It's very important.
I'll pick it up and bring it right out. Something wrong, Mr. Simpson? Hello? Oh. Funny.
Before we continue with Richard Diamond, here is an important question. What cigarette do you smoke, Doctor? That question was asked a few years ago of 113,597 doctors. The brand name most was Camel. Recently, that question was again asked of tens of thousands of doctors across the country. Doctors in all branches of medicine. And again, the brand named most was Camel. Yes, according to these nationwide surveys, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette. Friends, smoke the cigarette so many doctors enjoy. Change to Camels for 30 days and see how mild, how flavorful, how enjoyable a cigarette can be. Yes, change to Camels for 30 days, and you'll stay with Camels from then on.
How mild can a cigarette be? Make the Camel 30-day test, and you'll see. Smoke Camels and see.
And now back to Richard Diamond, Private Detective, starring Dick Powell.
I left the office and went down to 57th Street in the Blue Pheasant, where I told the bartender who I was, and he handed me the package Simpson had wanted me to pick up for him. I drove back out to the house on Long Island. The maid let me in, and Mrs. Simpson met me at the study door.
Hello.
Well, hi. Where's your husband?
Oh, I think he's still in the study. He was a little while ago.
You going out?
Some shopping. You're staying for dinner.
Where's your stepson?
Ralph went out just after you left. Did you want him for something?
No. Just wondered.
Then shopping?
Oh, this is a package for your husband. Wanted me to pick it up.
Dinner's at 7.
Mrs. Simpson.
Yes?
Professor Fisher.
What about him?
How long have you known him?
Since I've been married to John.
Your husband said he was helping him to relax.
Yes. Is there something wrong?
I don't know. I talked to your husband earlier when he asked me to pick up this package. He sounded rather strange, kept repeating himself.
Since he had his stroke, he does that sometimes.
Well, shouldn't he have a nurse?
He should, but he won't. If something should happen, Professor Fisher's number is in the book on John's desk. Or call the maid.
I'll see you at dinner.
Bye.
Well, hello, Mr. Simpson. I've got the package.
Give me the package.
Mr. Simpson.
Give me the package.
Are you feeling all right?
Give me the package.
Oh, okay, here. Oh, I did some checking on your story about the shanty, and I...
Give me the package.
You've got it. Mr. Simpson. What? Hey, what's wrong? Mr. Simpson, did you hear me? Oh, I better get the maid. Maid! Maid!
Mr. Diamond?
Yeah, Ralph?
Yeah. What's wrong?
I don't know. Your father's acting... It felt like the whole building was coming down around my ears. Ralph and I were thrown back against the wall, and by the time we got up, the study was a smoking black hole.
Dad! Dad!
I stumbled in after Ralph, but there wasn't much to stumble in after. John Simpson had been blown to kingdom come.
You're sure it was Simpson on the phone?
Sure, I'm sure it was Simpson on the phone, Walt.
He asked you to pick up the package.
That's right. He wanted it when I brought it in to him. He wouldn't say anything else. He just demanded that package.
He'd been pretty sick, hadn't he?
Yeah, but a man doesn't go to that much trouble to commit suicide.
No. Well, maybe somebody planted the bomb.
Look, let's check with that bartender at the Blue Pheasant.
Yeah, I want to talk to the rest of the family first.
So, by the way, what did you find out about them?
No police records. Can't find out much about the professor. He has no practice, no license in the state.
Well, see if you can find out something.
Interested?
Yeah. It's funny when a man has a heart condition and won't have a doctor.
I'll drag the professor in if you like.
No. You go talk to the family. I'll go over and check with the bartender.
Wait a minute, Sherlock. You better tell me how you got into this mess.
Okay, Fatty. Guess it won't hurt now. I told Walt everything the late Mr. Simpson had told me, then headed back to town in the Blue Pheasant on 57th Street. By the time I got there, the place was pretty well filled, but the bartender who had given me the package that afternoon wasn't in sight.
Yeah, Willoughby.
Where's the bartender who was working this afternoon?
How do I know? He just works in the afternoon.
Where does he live?
Why?
Well, I'm collecting addresses of bartenders. Now, where does he live?
You collect addresses. I collect wise guys. Beat it.
You mean I got to show my little old badge?
Your little old
badge?
Well, when you say so.
Complex.
He lives at 500 West 157th Street.
What's his name?
Earl Collins. No relation to Tom. No relation to Tom. Well, what are you going to do?
I piled out of the bar and back in the car. Drove across town to 157th Street and 500 West. It was a big apartment house, and Earl Collins was registered in 405. I climbed the stairs and knocked. Gave him a few minutes while I knocked my knuckles loose. Then went and dug up the landlady to have her open the door. She was a charmer, about 4 years older than Grant's tomb, with a gin disposition that would make a lost weekend seem like a Miami vacation. The type that should never have been dug up.
Look, honey, I got cleaning to do.
Sweetheart.
Sweetheart.
Oh, an expression of fond endearment.
Look, Buster, don't give me no words longer than one syllable.
Cop.
You?
Yes, Mother.
Mother. Sweetheart. Some cop.
We'll discuss my qualifications as soon as you open that door.
Okay. Sweetheart. There you are. Holy.
You said it.
Is he dead?
As dead as he can get. Still warm.
I'm not interested. I need a drink.
Did you see him come in?
No.
Did you see anybody else come in?
I've been in my apartment all afternoon. I'm going back there.
Killer used something awfully sharp. Neat job.
Neat? What are you looking at?
What's that other room?
Hi, what's wrong?
Keep it quiet. What's that room?
Oh, good gosh, bedroom.
Any other rooms?
Hi.
Answer me.
Bathroom.
Fire escape?
Huh?
Where is it?
End of the hall.
Look, there's some blood leading to that bedroom.
Oh.
Now, take it easy. Go downstairs and call Lieutenant Walter Levinson.
Oh, Lieutenant Levin Wilson.
Walter Levinson.
Oh, goodbye.
At the 5th Precinct.
5th Precinct, oh, yeah.
There were several drops of blood leading to the bedroom door. There was a good chance that the killer had been surprised and couldn't get out. I went to the door and tried it as quietly as I could. It gave, and I kicked it open. The shades were down. The room was dark enough to make it difficult to spot anyone. I moved in with my gun in front of me. He was standing right by the door, and he had a knife. Drop it.
No.
You should have listened.
Didn't want to.
Sorry, Professor.
Don't be. It's better this way.
Oh, look, you're in bad shape. You better tell me about it. You fired the shot in the garden and sent the letter?
Yeah. Help me sit up.
Okay. Yeah. Lean me against the wall.
Thank you.
Oh, I still can't figure why Simpson had me pick up that bomb.
I made him.
You did?
I've been treating him for nerves. I started giving him a hypnotic when he had his first spells. During one of those times, he reenacted the Ashanti affair.
So you decided to blackmail him?
First. Then when you took the case, we decided to eliminate him.
We?
Well, Mrs. Simpson and I have been... Hadn't got much time. Internal bleeding.
Police will be here pretty quick.
Decided to kill the old man, and Jane would get the estate. I thought you'd be blown up with him.
Mr. Simpson was under some sort of influence when I walked into the study.
My profession. After you left, I returned and talked him into a deep sleep. I had him call you at your office. He nearly messed it up.
Hypnosis?
Nothing unusual. Simple suggestions.
And when I walked into the study?
He'd been ordered to ask for the package and open it.
You mean he was asleep when I walked in?
Yes, you see. It's too late. You'll have to guess the rest. Bleeding in. Oh.
Yeah. Well, you better lie down again, Professor. You'll have to get used to it.
Why did he kill the bartender?
Well, Walt checked, and the professor had been coming into the bar for some time in the afternoons. He made friends with Earl, the bartender, and left the package with him. When he found out I hadn't been killed in the blast, he killed Earl to keep him from identifying him.
Oh, charming.
Yeah, like an asylum in an earthquake.
Well, I told you to stick to redheads.
Oh, really? Well, you know any available ones?
One.
How available?
You'll have to do some extensive research.
Okay.
After dinner.
I do not do any research on a schedule.
Don't you want any dinner?
Well, sure.
Well, it gets cold.
Let it.
Rick.
What?
I'm hungry.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
You sing something while I go put the food on a tray and we can eat in here by the fire.
You're going to get fat and sassy.
Rick.
I take it back. You're already sassy.
You sing something. I'll be right back.
I'll be right back. Gotta sing for everything. Bo-dee-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
That's nice.
Just get the food, huh?
Just sing, huh?
I think of you with every breath I take, and every breath becomes a sigh. Not a sigh of despair, but a sign that I care for you. I hear your name with every breath I take, on every breeze that wanders by, and your name is the song I'll remember the long years through. Even though I walk alone, you guide me. In the darkness, you light my way. And all the while inside me, love seems to say, someday, someday. And when I sleep, you keep my heart awake. But when I wake from dreams divine, Every breath that I take is a prayer that I'll make you mine.
Rick. Is there really anything to this hypnosis?
Well, there sure is. The old professor made Simpson open that package.
Is it hard to do?
Ah, look, I'll show you. Just sit right there.
Rick,
It's all right. Just look me right in the eye.
All right.
You're going to sleep. You're going to sleep. You just want to go to sleep. Nothing makes any difference. Just sleep. Sleep. Sleep.
Rick?
Deep, deep sleep. A deep, sound, peaceful.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
Dick Powell will return in just a minute. To find out how well camels agree with the throats of smokers, this far-reaching test was made. Hundreds of people from coast to coast, people with normal throats, smoked only camels for 30 days. Each week, leading throat specialists examined the throats of these smokers. They made 2,470 examinations and reported
Not one single case of throat irritation due to smoking camels.
Try camels for 30 days and see how mild, how flavorful, how enjoyable a cigarette can be.
How mild, how mild, how mild can a cigarette be? Smoke camels and see.
Here's Dick Powell with a special message.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the makers of camels have sent more than 198 million gift camels to our armed forces. This week, gift camels go to hospitalized servicemen and veterans at Veterans Hospitals, Framingham, Massachusetts, and Dearborn, Michigan, U.S. Naval Hospital, San Diego, California, and to all hospitals operated for the U.S. Air Forces in the Far East. Now, until next week, enjoy camels. I always do.
Tonight's transcribed adventure of Richard Diamond was written and directed by Blake Edwards with music by Frank Worth. Virginia Gregg played the part of Helen Asher, and Alan Reed was Lieutenant Levinson. Others in the cast were Gene Bates, Herbert Butterfield, and Tony Michaels. Be sure to listen to another great camel show, Vaughn Monroe and the Camel Caravan, every Saturday night.
This I believe. William F. James is a young man in his 30s who sells automobiles in St. Louis, Missouri. A lot of men get so wrapped up in their businesses that they have no time for anything else. This is hardly the case with Mr. James. A lieutenant commander in the Naval Reserve, he saw enough active duty during the war to earn him the Purple Heart, the Navy and Marine Corps Medal, and a recommendation for the Navy Cross. In civilian life, he is perhaps best known as the founder and president of Boys Town of Missouri. This he started from scratch, copying Father Flanagan's famous Boys Town in Nebraska, and doing it so successfully that the citizens of Missouri support the project on a voluntary basis. James' work here has earned him a Freedom Foundation award. He has been honored by the U.S. Junior Chamber of Commerce. What sort of fellow is he? Bill James reveals himself in his beliefs.
It was during a period when I was supposedly killed in action that I realized the worth of life itself. In a conversation with a survivor of the ship on which we had both been serving, as we waited to be rescued from the water, the point was brought out that worldly things, money, prestige, power, all were helpless in this vast sea of darkness, oil, and coal. Only the Great One above knew of our presence. Only He could save us. We were helpless. The sole gift which we possessed was our life, with other lives waiting for us at home. I believe now, as I did then, that I must merit my right to this great gift of life, and that understanding this, I must do the things necessary to justify this gift. I have been asked why I work and drive so hard. I can only say that I must live as I live. And when I can no longer live as I do, and as I believe, then I wish to be dead. Above all, I enjoy people. People from every walk of life, regardless of color or creed. I enjoy knowing them all. And I believe that each of these individuals should have the right to have respect shown to him for his feelings and beliefs. I feel that I have benefited most in the past few years from my naval service, for it was during this period of time that I learned the meaning of the word tolerance. Prior to the war, I would often criticize people, maybe for what they were or perhaps for their actions. Today I realize that there is a reason behind the motives of each individual. So often my own wife claims that I am oversensitive. I do not believe that this is true, but I realize that the little things that one says so often greatly affect others. And in the learning of tolerance, I feel that other people are sensitive, and such people should be protected by both what I say to them and by my treatment of them. I am a Catholic, and my closest friends during the war included Masons and Jews, yet we found so much in common. I have a little axiom that I have attempted to live by in the past several years: not an unkind word to any man, except in a just admonition. I have come to believe in life that we all have some sort of cross to bear, whether it be sickness or disability, a personal matter, physical unattractiveness, perhaps a parental problem, or even a difficult marriage. And I further believe that time heals almost everything, either by our becoming accustomed to the disability or a personal problem, or by our determining in the final analysis that perhaps we ourselves are to blame. I believe, above all, that there is a just God, and that he will judge me not on what I have done or on what I have accomplished. Rather, he will judge me on my understanding, to the extent that he has given me the mind to realize and know what I can accomplish, what I can do, and to know right from wrong. Thus and only thus will he judge against me if I lack in my accomplishments, if I fail him. This I believe.
That was William James, young St. Louis businessman and civic leader who has worked out a strong pattern for purposeful living.
Mr. District Attorney, starring David Bryan. Mr. District Attorney, champion of the people, defender of truth, guardian of our fundamental rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
And it shall be my duty as district attorney not only to prosecute to the limit of the law all persons accused of crimes perpetrated within this county, but to defend with equal vigor the rights and privileges of all its citizens.
Now, here is our star, David Bryan, as Paul Garrett, Mr. District Attorney.
District Attorney knows that crime is no respecter of social position. It can strike in the slums of the city, or it can strike, as this case did, in the vast and wealthy estates in the suburbs. The time is 1:37 a.m., and Howard Morton, a wealthy industrialist, is awakened from his sleep by the sound of his daughter screaming.
Daddy! Daddy, help me! Help me!
Honey, what's the matter?
Bob. He's dead, Daddy. He's dead.
Ah, dead? What happened to him? Connie, get hold of yourself. What happened?
I'm frightened, Daddy. There was a man with a bandana over his face.
Where, Connie? Where?
The old road near the lake. We were parked there listening to the music on the car radio when all of a sudden... Oh, it was horrible.
Sit down. Sit down while I call the police. Then you'd better have a doctor. Get something for your nerves.
He tried to hold us up. Bob had a gun in the car. They fought for it.
Operator, get me the police. I want to report a murder.
Oh, Daddy. Daddy.
Connie! Connie! Walters! Meade!
Wake up, somebody! Wake up! Wake up!
The butler said we could wait here in the library, Chief. The doctor's still in with the girl. She had a mighty bad shock.
She tell you where the killing took place, Harrington?
Yeah, one of the old roads down by the lake, over in the state park. I've got 3 squads beating around the lake roads now. They'll call us as soon as they find the body.
What time is it?
Almost 5 a.m. Be getting light in half an hour.
If the girl can't talk to us soon, we'd better get over to the lake with the men.
Oh, here's the girl's father now. How are you, Mr. Garrett? I'm sorry to keep you waiting.
I understand, Mr. Morton. May we see your daughter now?
I'm afraid not. The doctor put her under sedation. She must have absolute rest for a few hours.
Well, we'd better come back later then.
Well, thank you. I think that would be best. I'll walk out with you.
Is there any way we can get to the lake from here without driving back to the highway?
Yes, there is. Go around to the rear of the house, past the guest house and the stables. You'll find a road there that intersects several of the neighboring estates. We use it more or less as a bridle path, but it's suitable for a car.
Fine. That'll save us a few minutes. What time was it when your daughter got home, Mr. Morton?
Just a minute or two before I made my call to the police. A little past 1:30. I'd only been in bed about an hour. The servants locked up at about 12:30. Remember, behind the house and past the stables.
We'll find it. See you later. Oh, Harrington, Ma Brady must have been standing right beside his car when he was killed. Our tracks are pretty heavy where the car was parked.
Yeah. I only saw the Morton girl for a minute before the doctor got to the house. Couldn't make much out of what she was saying, but I gathered that Brady was killed with his own gun.
Well, how come?
Well, one of the servants told me that Brady carried an automatic in the glove compartment of his car.
I guess it was robbery, all right, though. Brady doesn't seem to have a cent on him. No wallet, no wristwatch, nothing.
Yeah, no doubt about the motive. Well, I guess we can have the body moved into town. Somebody will have to notify his folks.
Yeah. Keep a squad of men out here, though.
What do you want them to do?
Beat the brush and look for Brady's gun. While they're looking, we can follow this extra set of footprints, see where they lead.
Yeah. Hey, you fellas. Comb this area. Find that gun.
Okay. Tracks head this way.
Well, whoever he is, Chief, he didn't make much of an attempt to cover up his tracks.
No, unless he had a car parked along here someplace waiting for him. Oh, wait a minute.
Footprints leave the road here. This may be where the trouble starts.
No, they just turn off to this footpath. What's down the path? In that clump of trees.
Huh? Oh. Yeah, it looks like a small cottage. Oh, this is state parkland, Chief. Can't be a private home.
Well, it must be a caretaker's cottage. State fire warden.
You think he could be our man?
Well, the best way to find out is to ask him. Keep your eyes open.
Coming to the cottage. It isn't even 7 a.m. yet. He was out late last night. Might still be asleep.
Take a look through the windows.
Yeah, he's there all right, Chief.
Yes. He may still have Brady's gun tucked under his pillow someplace. Let's see if we can take him before he wakes up. Easy.
Door isn't locked.
Good. Go in.
Bedroom. There he is.
Covered. Here are the boots. Right beside his bed. Look.
Yeah, they made the marks we've been following, all right.
Wake him up.
All right, you. Wake up. Wake up.
What's the matter?
Get up.
Hey,
What are you guys doing in here? Who are you?
Well, my name is Garrett. I'm the district attorney.
What is this? One of Charlie's gags? You friends of Charlie's?
I told you who I am, and it's no gag. What's your name?
Brennan. Mike Brennan. What's the
Let
matter?
us ask the questions, huh, mister?
Where were you last night, Brennan?
In town to a movie. Why?
Anybody see you in there?
Friend named Charlie Ridgway. We ate together.
Anybody else?
Clerk at Walton's Photo Supplies. I picked up a gallon of developing solution. I take a lot of pictures to my own developing. There's the solution on the table. You'll find the bill for it in that paper sack.
What time did you start back from town, Brennan?
Got the last bus out this way at midnight. Dropped me off out at the highway about 12:30. About a half-hour walk from there to here.
You see anybody after you left the bus at the highway?
Why, yeah. Yeah, come to think of it, I did. I saw a fella and a girl on the old road coming through the woods. I passed their car. Thought maybe somebody had had a breakdown. I looked inside, but there wasn't anybody in the car. Then I walked on a little further and I met them, walking too. I asked them if they were having any trouble. And
Go ahead.
he said no, so I left.
Better get dressed, Brennan. You're coming with us.
But why? What have I done?
If you don't know, you'll find out later. If you do know, we don't have to tell you. Watch him, Harrington. I'm going to look around for that gun.
A gun?
You heard him, mister. A gun. Just like the one I'm pointing at you. So get dressed and no tricks. I hope the Morton girl can give us some more information, Chief. We sure can't hold that Brennan for long unless we get more on him.
No, he didn't have Brady's gun or anything else.
There's Mr. Morton now, out front waiting for us.
The secretary told me you arrested somebody when I called to say Connie could see you now.
Just a suspect, Mr. Morton. Nothing definite. May we go in?
Oh, sure. She's upstairs in her room. She's still very nervous, though, gentlemen. Before you speak to her, I want you to know I'd consider it a personal favor if you try not to upset her any more than is necessary.
We'll try not to, Mr. Morton, but a man has been murdered, and we must have all the information we can get.
Of course. Mr. Garrett and his assistant have come back to talk to you, dear.
Hello.
Hello, miss.
Hello, Miss Morton. Miss Morton, would you mind telling us about last night?
Well, there's very little you don't already know. Bob and I hadn't dated for a long time. But last night he called, said he wanted to see me. We drove around, then parked down on that lake road.
Mm-hmm.
We talked for quite a while. You see, Bob was planning to get married next month to a girl named Mildred Peters. She's a school teacher, I think he said.
Go ahead, Connie. Tell them everything.
While we were talking, a man came up to the car. It was dark. He had a bandana over his face.
You couldn't identify him by his features, then?
No. He held us up, made us get out of the car.
Did he have a gun?
I'm not sure. He had something in his hand. I don't know what. I was too frightened. He took Bob's wallet and his wristwatch. And then he told us to stay right where we were.
And he didn't take anything from you?
Oh, yes. Yes, he took my purse.
And then what happened?
Well, all of a sudden, Bob made a dash for the car. He got his gun from the glove compartment. But the man was right after him. They fought. The other man got the gun. And then he shot Bob and ran away.
Gentlemen, if you don't mind, I think...
Just a minute, please, sir. Miss Morton, what were you wearing last night?
Just a plain blue taffeta dress. It's right there on the chair.
No top coat?
It was a warm night.
You were in bed when your daughter drove home, Mr. Morton.
Yes, I told you. I turned in about 12:30.
Servants go to bed, too?
Same time I did. I watched them locking up.
All right, Harrington. We'd better run along. We can find our way out.
Goodbye. That girl can make our case against Brennan when she calms down.
I don't know, Harrington. Somebody's lying around here. Mr. Morton claims the house was locked up tight when he and the servants went to bed. But they both admit that his daughter came tearing into the house and up to his bedroom.
Well, what's wrong with that?
How did she get into the house if Brennan stole her purse? Her keys would be in the purse.
Well, not necessarily, Chief. She might have had her house key in the pocket of her dress.
That's why I took a look at that dress, Harrington. And that's why I know she's lying. That dress didn't have any pockets.
And now back to David Bryan, starring as Paul Garrett, Mr. District Attorney.
A man had been murdered with his own gun in a Lover's Lane killing. Suspicion pointed strongly at a state park caretaker. I had the dead man's mother and his fiancée brought to my office for interrogation. I was with them when Harrington came back to the office with some vital evidence.
Hello, Harrington.
Hi, Miss Miller. Chief in his office?
Yes, Brady's mother's with him and, Miss Mildred Peters.
Peters. Oh, that must be the school teacher Brady was going to marry.
Probably. She looked like she'd been doing a lot of crying. What's that you got?
Well, fingerprints. Nice matching set. Lab crew lifted this set from the door of the death car. And we took this set on Brennan when we booked him.
You're identical, all right.
Yeah, Brennan's our boy. This ties it on him, but good. I wonder if the chief wants me in there.
You don't want to see those. Go ahead.
Yeah.
The only boy I had left. His brother died 6 years ago.
Oh, excuse me, Mrs. Brady. Come in, Harrington. Sit down.
I thought you might want to see these right away, Chief.
Please, Mother Brady, try to calm down. Mr. Garrett needs our help.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. This is Mr. Harrington, my assistant. Harrington, this is Mrs. Brady, and this is Miss Peters.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Now, Miss Brady, how long did you say it had been since your son had been out with Connie Morton? Before last night, I mean.
6 months. I thought it was all over between them. I thought she'd leave him alone when she knew that he and Mildred were going to be married.
Did he brood about her much during the time they stopped going out together?
No. He knew it was for the best. She was spoiled. She never really wanted him. Until she found out he was planning to marry Mildred.
Do either of you have any idea, then, as to why he called her and asked her to see him last night?
He didn't call her. She called him.
You're sure of that?
I was there when he answered the phone. He didn't want to go. She must have been insisting, because after a while he said all right, he'd meet her just once. For the last time.
Well, it was the last time, all right. Well, thank you, ladies. That'll be all for now. You've helped a great deal.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Is it true what the newspaper reporters told us when we were coming in, that you've arrested the killer?
Well, I wouldn't count on that just yet. You will be informed.
Thank you.
I don't get you, Chief. Why did you say that? Those fingerprints on Brennan, you've got enough to get an indictment for murder right now.
I can get more than an indictment with them, Harrington. I can get a conviction. But I don't like convicting the wrong person. Now, let's go down to the lab. I want to set up the mug shots they made of Brennan when he was booked. Going to the lab, Miss Miller. Photo gallery.
Yes, sir.
What do you want Brennan's picture for, Chief?
I want Connie Morton to look at them. See if she can make an identification.
She said the man who stuck him up had a bandana over his face.
She said a lot of things. Basement, please, Marty. Was a bandana found in Brennan's clothing out at the cottage?
Yeah. He says he wore it around his neck. Lots of guys who work outdoors do wear him, you know.
I want to stop someplace and buy a different bandana. different color and pattern.
Oh? What for?
You'll see tomorrow. I want to find out how many lies Connie Morton can tell. Because I won't be satisfied with the case against Brennan until we find Brady's gun and the things that were supposed to be stolen.
Miss Morton must be feeling a lot better this morning if she's out at the stables.
Yeah, a lot better.
There she is now, over in the ring. Hey, what's she doing?
Working out a jumper.
All right, Caesar. Now back again. Over. Fork at a jump, will you? I'll teach you. When I want you to jump, you'll jump.
Take it easy with that horse.
Oh. Mr. Garrett. Mr. Harrington. I didn't see you.
Glad to see you recovered from your shock.
I had to find something to occupy my mind. Jeffries, get Caesar out of the ring and unsaddle him. We can talk at the house. I thought working Caesar might relax me. I've got him entered in the garden show next Sunday.
Be nice if the horse lives that long, the way you use a whip.
It happens to be my horse and my business, Mr. Garrett. What do you want?
A little help. We may have the man who killed Bob Brady.
So the reporters told me. A park worker named Brennan.
News gets around, doesn't it?
Here's a photograph of him. Is he the man?
He could be. He looks like the one.
Well, what do you recognize? The scar on his chin?
Yes. No, I mean no. His face was covered.
Uh-huh. With a bandana. We found one on Brennan. Was this the bandana you saw?
Well, it was dark. But it was just like that one.
I see. Well, thank you. Come on, Harrington.
Is that all you wanted to know?
Yes. That's all for now.
Well, she took the bait on that bandana, all right, Chief. It's nothing like the one Brennan was wearing.
I know.
Hey, isn't that a Central Division car coming up the drive?
Yes. Well, that's Miss Miller with the driver.
Wonder what's up to bring her out here.
Oh, Mr. Garrett. I'm glad I got here before you left.
What is it?
This letter. Came in the morning mail about 5 minutes after you left the office. I thought you'd want it right away.
Look at this, Harrington.
Ah, hand-printed on cheap stationery. Addressed to you.
Look in crevice of oak tree 50 yards behind Brennan's cottage. That's it.
Yeah, looks like Brennan trusted a friend who decided to double-cross him.
What do you think it means?
It means we're about to find a few stolen items, including Bob Brady's gun. You take a cab back, Miss Miller. Let the squad car follow us.
Something else in here if I can get my fingers on it. I got it. Yeah. Hey, Chief. Look at the inscription on the back.
To Bob from Mildred. Brady's wristwatch, all right.
Yeah, nice haul. Gun, girl's purse, Brady's wallet and wristwatch. All practically on Brennan's doorstep.
And here are Connie Morton's keys. The keys she let herself into the house with. They couldn't be in this tree and with her at the same time.
Why would she kill Brady?
Oldest motive in the world. Jealousy. Well, we'll have to hold Brennan another 24 hours. That'll be long enough to get what we need. And Connie Morton can take his place.
Well, we still can't prove anything.
We'll have enough when I send that anonymous note through the lab for handwriting analysis.
But the note isn't written. It's hand-printed.
There'll still be similarity in letter formations. We can compare them against Connie's printing.
Where are you going to get your sample to compare?
The registration blank she sent to the horse show to enter her mount for the jumps. Ever see one of those applications?
No.
They say, please print.
Well, why do you have to see my daughter again, Mr. Garrett? You men have been seeing her every day. You've got to leave her alone.
Well, don't worry, Mr. Morton. This is our last visit.
Why can't I answer whatever it is you want to ask?
Because you weren't there when Brady was killed.
There she is, Chief. In by the stalls.
Mind if we come in, Miss Morton? Or would you rather come out?
What do you want this time?
We thought you might like to know that we found Bob Brady's gun. An anonymous note told us where it was. A crevice in a tree right behind Brennan's place.
Well, now you've got a good case. You can stop bothering me.
Oh, we've got a good case, all right, but not against Brennan. Brennan didn't kill Bob Brady.
Then you still don't know who did it.
Oh, yes, we know. You did it, Miss Morton.
I did it.
How dare you make such an accusation against my daughter? Get out of here. Get off my property. My attorneys will break you for this, Garrett. Get out!
We'll go, but we'll take your daughter with us.
What evidence do you have?
A hand-printed anonymous letter that matches the printing on the registration blanks your daughter sent into the horse show.
You better come along, Miss Morton. You're not going to be showing your horses this Sunday.
You...
Oh! Give me that quiz.
That's something else you won't be using again, Miss.
We'll get the best legal talent in the country. We'll beat you on this, Garrett.
It's your privilege to try. But be true to yourself, Mr. Morton. You began to suspect she was lying the same time I did.
She's not lying. She didn't know anything about it. I did it. I shot Brady.
No, that won't work either, Mr. Morton. We've got her pinned down tight.
Daddy, help me. Talk to them. Give them some money. What kind of a father are you if you can't help me?
Shut up!
You hit me.
Yes. I should have started 20 years ago, before I let you become what you are. Maybe I'm not legally guilty, Mr. Garrett, but I'm guilty of raising her the way I did.
It's too bad you didn't think of that sooner. All right, Connie. Let's go into town.
Now, here's the star of Mr. District Attorney, David Bryan, with a word about the program you have just heard.
When Connie Morton's attorneys saw that her protestations of innocence in the face of the evidence against her was not impressing the judge or jury, they persuaded her to enter a voluntary plea of guilty to murder in the second degree. She was sentenced to a prison term of 50 years. Now, this is David Bryan inviting you to join us when we present our next case based on the facts of crime from the file of Mr. District Attorney.
Mr. District Attorney was originated by Phillips H. Lord.